The long offseason begins for the Padres, a crushing end to what had the promise of being a special season, cut short by the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium on a night where the offense just did not show up. The Padres completely lifeless on offense, had one opportunity to really do damage in this game and didn't, and the Dodgers cash in. Yu Darvish did more than enough, but the Padres could not take advantage of his really good start. They fall 2-0. Their season is over. Their command of the series was turned around on them by Los Angeles over the last two games. So John and Jim with you here. It is the wrap-up show. I'm in Laramie, Wyoming, actually Cheyenne. Jim's in San Diego. Will be with you for the next 90 minutes or so, reacting to what is going to go down as a game that we're going to be thinking about for a long, long time, especially at the hands of Los Angeles, in the manner in which it occurred. Everyone had visions of more than this. Nobody knew that they would win the game or how it would play out, but everyone had visions of more than this. And the offense was really, really tight here tonight. And the explanations will occur, I guess, in the days and hours that will follow this game. So as you wake your way in, please subscribe here on Content for Padres Fans. Smash the like button for us. You can follow us at X, at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We'll get to every single super chat here tonight, obviously. Click the $ below the chat box if you want to support the channel. But again, our hopes over the last 48 hours would be that the Padres are going to show up and fight and give it everything they possibly could. And it just didn't feel like that here tonight. They did absolutely nothing against Yamamoto or this bullpen. They're shut out, and their season ends in Los Angeles, Jim.
They choked. They had 2-1 series lead, and they went scoreless for the final 24 innings after the 6-run second here at Petco. They allowed the Dodgers bullpen to shut them out on Wednesday night, and tonight honestly felt even worse offensively. They choked. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm going to be as blunt as I possibly can tonight. It was a really, 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 really good season. They choked. This ain't to me something like, man, what a special year. There were special moments. A special year to me constitutes them getting past the DS round and not going 24 straight scoreless innings to end their season. I think AJ Cassavell put it out there. Longest stretch. Where is it?
Longest scoreless stretch of their year. We know that.
Oh, easily the longest stretch of their season. But it's the longest postseason drought for any team in 33 years. They choked. There's no other way to put
it. Longest scoreless drought for any team in 30. Wait, say that again.
AJ Cassavell said that they were held to 24 scoreless innings. It's the longest postseason drought for any team in 33 years.
Jesus.
So, look, I want to come on here and I want to say they fought and they battled, but it's really hard to say that after watching tonight's game and Wednesday night. Like, you had one opportunity tonight, and Fernando Tatis Jr. rolled over to ground into a double play. And other than that, just god-awful at bat after god-awful at bat. Manny had a horrible series. Merrill had a great first couple games, and then he went, I think, hitless maybe, or he didn't do much. Xander Bogaerts went extremely quiet after game 2. Jerkson Profar didn't do anything in the postseason. Yu Darvish and Adam Scott and Jason Adam and Tanner Scott were the only ones that showed up tonight for this Padres team. It was to me, the only way I could put it is they choked.
Yeah, I mean, I won't disagree with that. I think it's fair. I mean, considering what your hopes were after game 3, you've taken control of the series. You're at home. You've got a chance to close it out. And Joe Davis had a stat that really hit home. I mean, they were outscored 15-0 to close the series. Like, you're going to have to show up. They didn't put any pressure on LA the last 2 games. No. Maybe they would have folded if you were the team to score first on them. Maybe they would have tightened up. If as opposed to Kike Hernandez hitting a home run, it's you. If it's David Peralta hitting a home run and you take an early 1-0 lead, but it didn't happen.
No.
And Yamamoto to get through 5 innings against the Padres the way he had thrown against San Diego was all you needed to know. Mm-hmm. Once Yamamoto did that, and you couldn't afford to go down by more than 1.
No.
Sticking with Yu Darvish into the 7th inning at the end of the day won't be the difference, but it didn't make any sense with your bullpen. There's no excuse to do that if you're Mike Schilt. It was not a well-managed series, in my opinion, either. But you're not going to win many games as a manager when you don't score. And the opportunity in which they had is one that you're going to be thinking about a lot. 2 on, 1 out for Fernando Tatis Jr., who didn't swing at a breaking pitch that was right over the heart of the plate. and that did swing at a 3-1 pitch, knowing that it had to be perfect for him because he was going to get a 3-2, and to bounce into a 5-4-3 inning-ending double play. The last base runner for the Padres was in that inning. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
The last base runner was in a rise single in the third inning, and I think it was 20 consecutive Padres retired by Yamamoto and the bullpen in this 2-0 loss, and now you just got to live with the repercussions of it. And the repercussions are this. LA is fully capable of winning World Series this year. Mm-hmm. And the Padres, like all teams heading into an offseason, will have legitimate, real questions. And one of which is this, Jim, that Manny Machado was brought here to win at a high level in the postseason, and it hasn't yet fully happened. Has he brought them relevance? Yes. Have they been in the postseason 3 of the last 5 years? Absolutely. But has he come through in the clutch? The answer to that is unequivocally no. And that's going to hang with him as well heading into this offseason. So a lot of questions that will be answered. And this is going to be a really long offseason. It's one thing to lose in the postseason. It's another thing to lose to the LA Dodgers with the 2-1 series lead in the best-of-5 series.
And it's not only going to be a long offseason, it's going to be a long, angry offseason because of how this thing finished. If they fought and they scored 2 there in the 9th and they went to extras and they went to like the 14th inning or whatever, and they happen to lose on a walk-off home run, at least you could say they battled tonight, and at least you could say they fought to the very end.
Absolutely.
They just like looked completely lifeless at the plate. Now, they're going to probably say, tip your cap, really good pitching, blah, 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 blah. Yep. No, I'm sorry, dude. There were some really bad at-bats in that game tonight and over the last 24 innings. And we all know it. They know it, but they're not going to admit it. Manny hit 179 this postseason. That's awful. Jurickson Profar did nothing this postseason. Jake Cronenworth was MIA for all but 2 hits this postseason. Okay. Looking up and down this lineup, here are the averages for this team. Small sample size, but still 7 games.
Yeah, that small.
Not that small. Arise hit 226. Profar hit 200. Manny hit 179. Merrill hit 250. Bogarts hit 167. Cronenworth hit 136. Solano hit 071. I mean, the only guys that showed up in this lineup were Tatis, Higashioka, and Peralta. That was it. Those are the only 3 guys offensively that showed up in the entire postseason. I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I'm pissed. I'm pissed that we watched that. I'm pissed that we watched the last 2 nights, Wednesday night and tonight, that they just look lifeless. I mean, you let the Dodgers bullpen and Yamamoto go 24 scoreless innings against you without putting up any type of fight. And you had a 2-1 lead. It's a choke, bro. It's a choke.
It's not. I'm actually not. I'm worse than pissed, and I'll explain. I'm actually disappointed. I expected more from them than they showed me the last 2 games, which is a worse thing for me to say because they showed me heart and fight all year long. And then when it mattered the most, they didn't. And that's super disappointing. Like it almost hurts more. It's not like you get mad in life, but when you get disappointed, it almost hurts more because that means you were vested. Like when you're vested in something, you get disappointed in a family member, you get mad at a friend. Like I'm disappointed because it felt like family. The way they were playing, it's like this team was kind of destined to do something, and we were wrong. I really thought this team was destined to do something. Yeah. Once they took a 2-1 series lead, once they won in the manner in which they won in game 2, once they had the pitching matchups working to their advantage, once they had LA on the ropes, once Freeman was hurt, like all these things working to your advantage, and they just could not capitalize. And don't fool yourself. Let me say this as well. This gets harder in 2025. That's the cold reality. LA will be better in 2025. I have no clue if they're going to win the World Series. They might not. They might lose to the Mets. They might not win the World Series. I have no idea. It'll hurt more if they do. I don't know if they do. I bet Dodger fans actually feel the same way. They don't know what's to come here. Their pitching is in shambles. They have injuries. They're set up for 2025. I've heard it from all kinds of people that cover the sport that they're set up for 2025. This will not get easier. This was your shot. This was the Jeff Passan tweet from a month ago. It's wide open for 12 teams. There's no dominant team in baseball. Anyone is capable. We are 72 hours removed from Las Vegas having San Diego as the World Series favorite. 72 hours later, they're bounced. That's the cold, hard truth of the matter heading into 2025, and it hurts.
And you lost to a Dodger team without Tyler Glasnow, okay? Kershaw didn't pitch much. Walker Buehler was not good for them. Ohtani's not pitching. They dealt with injuries all over the place. Freddie Freeman's playing on one leg, okay? And you had a 2-1 series lead and you lost to them in what might have been your best chance to win a World Series in franchise history. Yeah, dude, I'm disappointed as well. But like, after a series, you're like, fuck that team that beat us or whatever. Like, oh, I hate the Dodgers. Like, yeah, I always hate the Dodgers. But I'm more mad at the Padres. Like, I'm more mad at this team and this offense and the at-bats that they put up. Like, where did this team go? Where did they went completely MIA after the second inning on Tuesday night? It was kind of I'm shocked. Like, I said the last 2 days, and we said it on the wrap-up show, and I said it all today on John and Jim. I just felt like this team was going to battle and they were going to fight and they were going to figure out a way to pull through tonight because that's what they have done all year long. And especially in the second half, they have been a team that's fought most of this season, and it's instilled in them by Mike Schilt. At least Mike Schilt told everybody they're the grit squad, right? Grit squad, the amount of comebacks they had, the amount of walk-offs they had, the big moments they had, all for that to be instilled in this team to have it completely vanish, like just disappear in the last 2 games of the season, and you don't even put up any fight. Like, I mean, for everything that was said about Manny Machado, and I don't want to, I really don't like singling him out, but I mean, there has to be at some point like some standard here. You're the guy, and you went MIA in this series after game 2. Like what happened, bro? This offense, what happened? I mean, tonight, Fernando Tatis Jr. had his worst game of the series, but it's really hard for me to put this blame on Tatis for tonight because he fucking carried this team to this moment. You needed other people to help him out. You needed someone to step up, and nobody stepped up. And I usually at the end of the season, like, you're sad, you're disappointed, you're upset, but like, I'm beyond that, dude. I am livid. I'm fucking pissed at this team right now. I mean, they went out there and put together that performance. And what I said is the biggest game in franchise history. I said the biggest game in franchise history, I could argue, is tonight. And they went out and put that effort out there. Just complete joke of a performance. And I feel like a lot of Padres fans feel the same way.
Well, I would say this too, that after game 2, when you were so boisterous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to go from that moment where you're interacting with the crowd and you're, all the back and forth, you're banning Ken Rosenthal from your dugout. Like, to go from that to the, like, you kind of look like, I mean, I hate to say it this bluntly, you kind of look like the fool in the equation.
Yeah,
it's like you went from like a bit of like the bully to getting bullied real quick.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's okay to be the bully in that spot if you can back it up, not to advocate bullying. I'm really not. But like they were brash, and they were the team with personality, and they were the team with star power, and they were the team that didn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have it thrown right back in their face that quickly. I mean, from the 6-run inning where they were invincible, that was 72 hours ago. 72 hours ago, like I just said, they were the favorite to win the 2024 World Series, and then you get bounced with no fight. No energy,
None.
Completely lifeless.
None.
I said today I wouldn't have changed up the lineup with the benefit of hindsight. Maybe I would have. I don't know if any of it would have mattered, truthfully, here tonight. From the first inning where Yamamoto went 1-2-3 in the first inning, you knew it might be a little tricky. Mm-hmm. Then you have to put Dave Roberts in a spot where he's going to at least have to make a decision. He didn't. There was no decision to be made in the entire game by the manager. Yamamoto goes 5. Evan Phillips was really good. And from that point on, Kopech, Vesia, Trinan, there's no decisions to be made. He's got an elite bullpen like the Padres can with a lead. So it is going to be an awful, awful Monday morning quarterbacking for Padres fans all offseason because it was there for the taking. A 2-1 lead, playing at home to win a series. They didn't have a starting pitcher. No. And you had a guy that finished second in Cy Young voting 2 years ago, and you get bounced in the next 2 days. That's a hard pill to swallow.
I can't sit here and tell you guys that, man, what a special year. Just a disappointing end, man. It wasn't a special year. They didn't win the division. They didn't get past the DS, and they choked away a 2-1 series lead. I'm sorry. That does not quantify as a special year. Okay, what the Mets are doing right now.
I think it was a good. I think with time we'll say it was probably a good year.
I never said it wasn't a good year. I said it's definitely a really good season. Really good season. Most wins since '98 for sure. But I just want everybody to calm down a little bit on the special season. This season ended like I think as bad as you could imagine. And for that, the sour taste will be in the mouth for a long time.
Completely agree. Let's roll through some of these super chats. We'll get to them quickly. We appreciate your support of the channel. I mean, we'll be here for as long as we need to be here tonight as the Padres season is
so many people
over.
in the chat. Wow.
I mean, this is going to be kind of a record-breaking night. Unfortunately, with the Padres on the wrong end of a 2-0 defeat at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers were the best home team in the National League. Padres are the best road team in the National League. I'm not overly surprised the Dodgers won at home. I mean, you'd be an idiot to think that it would be quote-unquote surprising that the Dodgers as a favorite won at home. But I am surprised the Padres did not challenge or fight or put them into some adverse situation at some point over 9 innings. That's with Yu Darvish pitching his ass off. I mean, what else could you ask Yu Darvish to do in this game? You're going to have to back him with something. You can't win without scoring it. Jim Fat. Chucky D, thank you. Says, born in 68, raised in San Diego, so I have the history. This town is never-ending stream of sports losers. No NFL, NHL, NBA teams, no college powerhouse. Oh, well, let the payroll cutting begin. I don't think that's actually going to be their strategy. I don't want to go down the curse necessarily here tonight. I mean, they don't have as many teams as cities like Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, so on and so forth, but I don't think they're cutting payroll. I just think it's going to be hard to put yourself back in a situation where you've got as good of a chance to win a World Series in 2025. And every so often, thank you. He says, thanks for the ride, guys. You showed up, and it felt like the team went to the 2023 Hero Ball. I know a lot of trolls will be here, but thanks for hosting. Yeah, it did feel like it was a lot of like lost at bats, trying to do too much, whatever you want to say, in over their skis.
Yeah.
And it just, they didn't piecemeal anything together. A walk in the second inning. Here are the base runners. Let's live through them. They had a walk. They had back-to-back singles in the second from Higgy and Arise with one out. 3-1 count on Tatis. In that exact moment, you're feeling good about the situation. He rolls over 5-4-3, and that's it. That's the last base runner. That's the last person to touch first base safely in the game.
Yeah, I watching this team all year long. This is not. I didn't recognize this team the last 2 games. Like this was not the team we watched all year long.
Sure.
Like maybe a couple games in the first half, but like majority of the last second half of the season, that team is. I mean, I don't recognize that team. I don't. They put together the worst stretch of baseball of their season by far. And
you can't go 24 consecutive innings without scoring in the postseason. I don't care who you are.
And to see that I mean, longest scoreless inning streak for a team in 33 years. Like what?
What?
I mean, that's just that's laughable.
That's a true nightmare. It's a true nightmare.
The biggest nightmare you could possibly imagine. Like, if they lost this series and say they lost game 4, like 6-4, and they lost tonight, 3-2. Yeah, it would still absolutely suck. But at least we maybe could come on here and be like, dude, they fought. They fought to the end, and it sucks. I can't even say that. I literally can't even say that because of what we watched. And they're probably going to say things like that, and it's a bummer. It sucks. I fucking hate it. I mean, no one feels worse than the guys in that clubhouse right now. I mean, I just looked on Getty Images, and there's a picture of Jackson Merrill alone in the dugout after the game. I mean, you feel awful because this team truly felt like they had something special going on and that they were going to actually make a run at this thing. And there was real expectations heading into a postseason. There was not like, oh, let's just see what happens type of expectations. It's like, no, we expect to be in a World Series, and we expect to be hoisting up a World Series trophy. And they didn't even come close. Like,
no, and it's brutal. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is you're set up, and then you really had an opportunity that you just squandered. I mean, The opportunity was right in front of you. You build a 2-1 series lead based on good play, good performance, and then you squandered it. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to get right back to that spot, truthfully, again in 2025, let alone further. Jimmy, thank you for the Super. Will AJ Preller get fired? No. Thank
No.
you for the Super Chat. Grace Sun, appreciate the support of the channel. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. Guys, if you're here, please subscribe. This is the most people we've ever had live on the wrap-up show. We know it's disappointing if you're a Padres fan. You have to subscribe if you're here. We'll be here for you in the offseason as well. There'll be a lot to react to in the months ahead. Please subscribe, and thank you for the supers. Click the $ below the chat box. Like Andrew says, really pathetic performance. You was amazing. Feel bad for him. I blame Marty. She said series is over on 760. Who does that? I hope you guys give her shit. She didn't say the series was over. I mean, she actually may have, but she didn't mean that the series was over. It's not. It has nothing to do with. There's no jinx here, folks. I mean, we talk for a living. There's no jinx here. It's not on John. It's not on Jim. It's not on Marty. It's not on 760. It's not on anyone. It's on that group of individuals. Unfortunately, they got outplayed the last 24 innings. Clamp says, "I guess we lost the Soto trade." No, I'm not willing to go that. I mean, the Yankees are going to have to win a World Series to win a Soto trade. I know that, but there's just so many angles, truthfully, to like, where do they go from here? The whole run it back thing's tough. I mean, we've watched Manny Machado for 6 consecutive years in a Padres uniform. He's not getting younger. Xander Bogaerts is not a kid, and he hasn't been good as a Padre. Jackson Merrill has shown signs of greatness. So has Fernando Tatis Jr. You're relying on that core really moving forward, and you have some really nice pieces. But, man, just to start the whole process over right now, Jim, and think about what you need to do to get back in the situation, it just feels like a long way away.
Because Dodgers aren't going anywhere. Dodgers are only going to get better.
Of course not.
They're not going anywhere. And Dodgers were missing a lot of pieces. And this was as evenly matched between both teams as I can remember. And they choked away a 2-1 lead. And not only did they choke away a 2-1 lead, they did something that no team has done in 33 years, which is not score in 24 consecutive innings. Longest streak in 33 years. It's just, man, this one's going to take a long time. I feel like to get over a long time. And that's the worst part. Agree. That's the worst part.
Nick, thank you. He says, front-running team, all smiles and dancing when you're up, but quiet as a mouse later. Enjoy Cancun, losers. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks for the super chat, buddy.
I mean, I understand. I understand the sentiment of, again, you got to live with the bragging rights element of this. Obviously, the Dodgers' goal is not just to beat the Padres. They're trying to win a World Series. Just like if the Padres won this series, it wouldn't have fully made their season. But you do have the bragging rights like 2022. And now you got to live with the fact that you lost to LA in the manner in which you lost, and that we don't know what's going to happen now from here on out. And if the Dodgers do win a World Series, it's going to be hard to say that the Dodgers don't win in the postseason. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of series. Watsads, thank you for the super. He says, I hope no one shows up to meet this team at Petco when they get back tonight. They didn't show up for us. No. National media is laughing now. FLA. That's not a good take. I mean, it's not like they didn't try. They weren't like, hey, let's try to lose. I mean, baseball is the type of sport that when you don't score, it can look like there's a lack of effort. It's the last thing they had is a lack of effort. If anything, they're probably trying too hard for themselves, and that put them in this weird spot. But yeah, they pressed. That happens in sports all the time. And when it happens in baseball, it doesn't look pretty. And you can be retired in the manner in which they were retired here tonight. It is a tough look. That's, over 160 games, it can look tough, some of those games. And it looked tough the last 2 days for the Padres. It's not because they didn't want it. It's because they just didn't have it. They just, for whatever reason, didn't play like themselves the last 2 days.
No, like this team, I feel like even though to me, they just completely turned into something they weren't the last 2 nights. And it's going to be a brutal taste in everybody's mouth for the next 4 months. I don't think you should be like, fuck this team. I never want to root for them ever again. I mean, Jackson Merrill is not going anywhere. Fernando Tatis ain't going anywhere. Luis Ariz is going to be here for next season. Yu Darvish presumably is going to be here for next season. I mean, it's going to be more difficult because
39-year-old.
It's going to be more difficult because you're not going to have Joe Musgrove next year. Obviously Manny's coming back. Xander's not going anywhere. Like, Padres fans, rightfully so, love this team, love this 2024 team. but I do think that, it's not one of those teams that should be like thought of as like this amazing special, you know, goes down in history as one of the greatest teams ever to be play for the pot. Like they had a 2-1 series lead and they went scoreless in the final 2 games and they lost. They choked. It's a brutal pill. You hate it. I hate it. John hates it. Everybody in this chat hates it. All the loser Dodger trolls in this chat talking shit, they love it, but fuck them. And, it's just you got to pick up yourself off the floor and go forward. But I don't feel like to be like, I'm going to turn my back on this team is the right way to go.
Well, of course, and then nobody will. I mean, the place will be absolutely packed again in 2025. This season was a good season. They won 93 games. And to your point, the loser trolls that are literally cursing at Padres fans in the chat right now, you may have won the series. You're still a loser. Why would you do that? That's not, nobody.
Right.
Nobody did that on the other side in 2022. They weren't saying "F you." They didn't make it that personal. Like, relax, take a step back for a second. Like, come on, man. Like, be nice. Paul, thank you. Or be nicer than you're being right now. He
That's
says,
easier said than
honestly,
done.
and I get it. It's fandom. I get it. I get the hatred. I get that. But come on, to curse people, I get a clue.
And look, I say this before we get the super chat. This happened in 2022. Dodgers lost, and all of us and all Padres fans had all the ammunition to go at Dodger fans for them losing that series and winning 100+ games. Unfortunately, if you're going to dish it out, you better be able to take it as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember. I don't remember people saying "F you."
I don't remember it either. But I mean, John, you got to remember, dude. Dodger fans are the lowest form of fans in all of sports. Their IQ level about baseball is very low. So when you're dealing with Dodger trolls specifically, not all Dodger fans are this way, but when you're dealing with Dodger trolls specifically, they only have one, I think, like lane to go down, which is the fuck you guys are fucking pathetic, blah, 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 blah. That's it. And it's like, okay, whatever. You got to just roll your eyes.
The first jersey you bought, the first jersey you bought was like an Ohtani jersey for game like 1. Right. Paul, thank you. He says, honestly, this one is for all of the Padres fans who ran their vulgar and hateful mouse at me on X after game 3. It's not over until it's over. Stay classy. San Diego. All right, so the back and forth. Again, there's going to be back and forth. It's understood. It's clearly a rivalry because you have all these people trolling.
I'm going to actually change this right now because I think I can change it to only subscribers of the channel, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, you can in the back end. See, only subscribers of the channel can comment. We're going to try to make that happen right now. Patriot, thank you. Says Manny got his baseball card numbers though. FML. He did in the regular season. Patriot, to your point, he did. His career. I think I mentioned this coming into the postseason, Jim. Manny Machado's postseason numbers are bad. Like they're just bad.
Here's his numbers.
Postseason numbers are bad.
Here are his postseason numbers. You ready for this? By the way, I just changed it. Yeah. Only members of the channel can now.
Members or subscribers? Which is a big difference.
Let me see here. Customization. Subscribers of the channel.
How long do they have to be subscribed for?
Oh, it's your custom. Let's go.
Make it like
30 an hour
minutes or something.
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah, make it an hour.
There we go. Okay, so
all right, bye, Charles.
That was easy.
That's super easy.
Let's see here. So Manny in his career in the postseason, 191 at bats. He has 11 home runs, but he's hitting 215.
That's terrible. I mean, for a guy that's Hall of Fame caliber, those are bad numbers. Like his career OPS in the postseason is what?
684.
Yeah, it's terrible. Harley, thank you. He says, I'm deeply sad. You was fantastic and our bats died. 24 scoreless sounds like a curse to me. Thank you, Wrap Up Show, for being my shoulder to cry on. Yeah, we'll be here for you. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, the Wrap Up Show all off season. Mama said there'd be days like this. Things will get better, I promise. And it was a good season. And just because it ended up this way doesn't mean that there won't be good days ahead. And just because the Dodgers won the series doesn't mean they're going to win the World Series, but they may. We can't predict the future. So we'll see how it all turns out. Any of these supers that are coming in that are anti Padres or pro Dodgers, we appreciate your support of the channel. We're not going to pull them up, but thank you. Let's see. This super says at least Bob Melvin got to the NLCS and beat the Dodgers in 4. Schultz shit the bed 2 elimination games in a row in LA. Not saying he should be fired. Well, he didn't shit the bed in 2 elimination games in a row in LA, did he? I mean, there was game 4 in San Diego. I don't know what he can do in an 8-0 loss. I mean, I really don't. I don't know what he can do in either of these games if they don't score. Like, I don't think it was great managing over the last couple of days. But then again, if they don't score, I don't know what a manager can possibly do.
I think tonight, and I text you right before it happened, I go, leaving you Darvish to face these guys for a third time in the 7th, a little tricky there.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because you have a fully rested Adam, Scott, and Suarez. So you needed to max those guys out. Robert Suarez pitched one time in this series, John. He pitched one time. Once. Now, maybe if you told me that like 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, okay, like, because he wasn't doing well. But you needed to max out those guys. You got through the bridge. You got to the 7th. You needed to keep it a 1-run game. And to me, Schilt was trying to steal outs there from Darvish. And that's always a bad idea in the postseason, especially for a guy that you're seeing for a third time through the lineup. You got through the top order. That's great. You got through Ohtani, you got through Betts, and you got through Freeman. But I'm just not taking my chances anymore. Like, at some point, your luck's going to run out, and it happened. So for me, I would have maxed out Adam, Scott, and Suarez tonight for as many outs as possible, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, it still wouldn't have mattered, unfortunately.
No, it wouldn't have, because they would have lost 1-0 even if they brought in.
They would have lost.
Yeah.
They would have lost. Unfortunately, you're right, and I agree with you. And unfortunately, that's where it goes back to, like, can Schilt manage to score a run? I don't think he really could have managed to score a run. Michael, thank you, man, for your long-time support of the channel. He says, ironic, we made history the wrong way tonight. Just want to shout out Darvish for not taking salary, coming back from a very tough situation, giving us all he could. Appreciate all your content this year. We appreciate you, Michael, for your support of the channel with Mova Globes and beyond. Darvish is really good. I mean, he's right. I mean, for him to be out for 3 months and to come back as a 38-year-old, realizing you're only going to get so many cracks to win a World Series and to pitch like this on the road at Dodger Stadium in an elimination game, he deserved a better fate than that. That's what sucks. Like, Darvish pitched like he should have been in a position to win the game, and he didn't get the backing. And that is what I like to call baseball, and will happen and did happen here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the truest form of that's baseball ever, which is like the fucking worst. Because, I mean, as a pitcher, what can you do? You did everything you possibly could. I mean, Darvish showed up tonight in a big way. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of nitpicking at Mike Schilt there, but like to your point, John, it didn't even matter. I mean, they didn't score a run, so what's the point?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so what's the point? I mean, 1-0 or 2-0.
All right,
the same result.
Let's chill with the trolling, but thank you, Johnny, for the super. Let's try to kind of cool down the tempers in here, if possible. Colby, thank you. He says a single A team which struggled to not score in 24 innings is probably true. Manny's team embodies him perfectly. A loser that's going too far. Arise avoiding getting hit tells all. You're saying they're in the 9th inning. I mean, that's instinctual.
Yeah.
I don't think Manny's a loser. I just think that he hasn't come through in moments where other stars of the game have, and that's part of his story. Like, if this is a legacy-defining game, it goes one of two ways. You hit a home run and a win, it defines your legacy. You don't show up and you lose, it's part of your legacy. Like, Bryce Harper, he hasn't won a World Series, but I've seen him come up huge before in the postseason. Shohei Ohtani hasn't won a World Series yet, but he's had some huge moments already for the Dodgers in this series. Not tonight, but they won, and the Padres didn't. So it's part of the story. I wouldn't call him a loser, but it's certainly part of the story, his postseason struggles. I know that.
Yeah, it's not a good look when you don't have that moment. You just don't. You don't have And you had multiple opportunities to have that moment, but you haven't come through. And tonight, you thought his first pitch hit off of Yamamoto was gone. Wasn't. The
I
at bat,
know they did fly out to the warning track 3 times the
yeah.
first 3 innings.
The at bat in the 7th inning was his last at bat of the season was really bad. Like it was
That was a
not
bad at
good.
bat.
It was a really bad at bat. I'm not saying here being like lay off the sweeper. Like it's easier said than done, but you know the fact that he you know offensively didn't show up this series is it's not great. It's not great.
Jonathan, thank you. Says, first of all, F praying mantis or
Yeah, so much for that,
mantises.
right?
I'll ask for off-season questions in a bit, but I'm crushed. Yeah, I get it. You should be. I mean, everyone's vested. You know how much time people put into baseball? It's not football. Football is 16, 17 games, right? Come on. Everyone can do that. Everyone can sit around a Sunday and watch their team. 162 from Korea to tonight. I mean, from Korea, I was in freaking Spokane, from Spokane to Laramie. I mean, I was during the NCAA tournament we started this season. And now I'm in Laramie 6 weeks into the college football season. These things are long. This is 7 months. Okay. This is 7 months of being vested in something. And for it to end like this is
Mhm.
extremely disappointing and extremely hurtful. And will take time to get over. And that's reasonable. And that's how it should feel because Padres have good fans and their fans were
Mhm.
vested in this team. And they will be again in 2025. And the sun will rise again. And there will be another year and we'll trust in that. And I think they're positioned to be good again, likely. But are they positioned to be where they were this year without a clear cut favorite this deep in the postseason? We'll see what happens in 2025. Iron Six says they chargered it. They always do.
Yeah, well, look, they
I
were the
don't know.
underdogs. They were the underdogs tonight. The Dodgers are the favorites. The Dodgers were the favorites
Yeah,
going into the postseason too. It's not like they were a team that won 115 games or 110 games and lost in the DS
right.
round to a 89 win team like in 2022 of the Padres and Dodgers. Um,
Or 2023.
yeah, but look, I mean, to your point there, they had 2-1 series lead. That is by definition chargering it. San Diego
Yeah, because
chargering it.
right. You had it in control. I mean, they were the favorite to win the series in that moment. The Padres
Mhm.
are the favorite to win the series in that moment, and they didn't win the series. Evan, appreciate the generous super. He says his dad passed away last month, and we're sorry to hear that. We bonded over
Oh,
baseball.
dude.
He was an LA fan, but pulled for San Diego because he knew I loved them. I do anything to share the series with him. Tough loss, but grateful for the pods. Thanks for everything, J and J. We appreciate you, Evan. Yeah, baseball is a great family bonder. It really is. Man, man. Yeah, no words on that, my friend. And we're sorry for your loss. And this is going to be really tough. I mean, I still feel like why hasn't this game even started yet? I am
I
unwilling to admit that the
I
season
know.
is over based on what I watched tonight because it felt like nothing even happened. I just sat there for it was such a quick game by like game 7 standards or deciding game standards. Nothing happened. They just
Mhm.
did not show up. And that is what makes it so damn tough. I could live with them scoring 8 runs and losing 9-8. It would have hurt just the same, but I could live with it. But the fact that they didn't score for 24 consecutive innings is perplexing and impossible to figure out with this team that was actually a very good offensive team that pressured opposing staffs by and large all second half long.
Like, when you think about this loss tonight, I bet you there will be a lot of Padres fans, and I think rightfully so, that will say this is probably the worst loss they can remember as being a fan. Like, with the stakes that were at hand, with it being a win or go home, with who they were playing, with the team that we all thought that they had to make a run at the World Series. I mean, yeah, I'd be hard pressed to say this isn't one of the most heartbreaking losses that I can think of in franchise history. Like, I mean, you can talk about
Of
98 in the
course.
84 World Series, but truthfully,
But
they
they
were
weren't
never
in
in
those World
those. They
Series.
were never in those
Yeah.
World Series. They never had a chance to win the World Series. this game tonight, while it only would have got you to the NLCS and not won a World Series, and not Game 7 of the World Series, it just feels like, man, this heartbreak and this is what being a fan is. Like, if you're a fan, you know, of good
You get
teams,
it.
you get it, and you're going to like have heartbreaking losses in your lifetime that you never forget. Like, I think the way that I can describe this now in like 10 years or so, you'll be saying 24 straight scoreless innings, right? That's the thing,
Probably.
like you usually say like, oh, this, like if you mention a name, right? Like,
Like Marlon McCree.
yeah, like Marlon McCree, you know exactly the moment, you know exactly the game. You mentioned 24 straight scoreless innings, you know exactly the moment and you know exactly the series. And that's what this series was,
Hey,
which is one of the most heartbreaking losses ever.
we're going to tell you about Mark Nimitz, our title sponsor, in a moment. I'm texting with Mark right now. You're in it. Did Tatis swing at ball 4 in the 3-1 pitch?
What at bat?
The double play.
I don't
The
think
the
so.
pitch he swung, I thought it was, I think it's a tough pitch to hit. I thought it was like an inner third strike.
Let me look
Like
real
an
quick.
that's how I remember it. I don't have it in front of me. Is there a video of that play on MLB.com, the app? I have no idea. It's like the only thing they did. So maybe I'd have
It
to watch it again, Mark.
He swung it. I'm looking at pitch track here, and that was a ball.
Yeah. Where's it? Again, I trust Fernando Tatis Jr. can swing at a ball because he's capable of hitting a ball out of the ballpark. But in that 3-1 spot, you better get something you like. And clearly,
There's a ball.
I mean, look what happened. He bounced, he rolled over on it and grounded into a double play, unfortunately. Johnny says, is this more disappointing and embarrassing than the 2023 horrible performance? No, because you earned this. I mean, you got somewhere. I mean, it's clearly more. Here's the thing. It always hurts more the further you get. It hurts to lose a Super Bowl more than go 0-17.
Yeah. I mean, you as
Or
a
8-9
fan,
and not make the postseason.
yeah, as a fan, these moments absolutely suck. And there'll be a lot of people that won't be able to sleep tonight. I get it.
Yeah.
But you much rather be in these situations than last year's situation where you don't even have a chance, So, right.
Johnny said, thank you. We just read that. Run it back. Thank you. Says Schilt didn't adjust, ran out the same lineup. I don't even know if the lineup construction is Mike Schilt's sole doing. I think
can't
the
fault,
organization
dude.
of the postseason is going to get involved. And this was a lineup that had scored throughout the second half. This was a deep lineup. Look at their 1 through 5. Okay. Arise and freaking Tatis and Profar and Machado and Merrill. What do you want to change about it? What do you want to change about that? Cronenworth didn't hit. Some of these guys didn't hit. They didn't come through. And that will happen. But I don't think, by the way, what do you want to change to the lineup? You want Tatis to lead off? Does it change the night? You want Arise to hit second? Does it change the night? You want Jake Cronenworth batting ninth? Does it change the night?
Yeah.
Mike Schilt. I don't see.
Mike Schilt's the captain that's going down with the ship. He's not going to change things up in times of desperation. Drop the link, John. He's just going to go with what got him here. And this is what got the team here. So, if you want to change things up, it could be perceived as like pressing, or if you don't, then it could be perceived as pressing as well because you're too scared to change things up. I mean, I don't think it would have mattered, honestly, because this team collectively went into just a massive pressing slump.
This would have been dude, the reaction would be way worse if they lost 2-0 and the whole lineup looked different. I know, like, you changed the lineup and moved everything around, didn't score. Yeah, I mean, I actually think the reaction would be worse if they changed everything up and didn't score. Darnay Tripp, I think, is going to join us momentarily from NBC7. We do want to remind our viewers about our longtime title sponsor, who is a diehard Padre fan and broken up like everyone is that's a Padre fan tonight. Mark Nimitz of Farmers Insurance, who is a great insurance agent. You can take that from us, because we've got insurance through him. I've got homeowners and life insurance and earthquake insurance. Just by switching your policy, he could save you money, like $750 or more. If you ever need him, he's there for you. I needed him a couple days ago. I lost my license. He had my driver's license number for me. I called him from a Food for Less in Claremont, and he took care of me. He's just a great, great insurance agent with great service and communication. He saved me thousands of dollars back in 2022, and we had a flood in our home as well. So if you support the channel, if you're in California, get in contact with Mark Nimitz. Click the link in the description down below. He is there for you. Auto, home, renters, life, whatever you need, he's there for you. He's going to save you money. He's going to save you time. If you support the channel, support our longtime title sponsor. He's been with us since day one, an OG, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.
Yeah, all his information is below. mnimitz@farmersagent.com. If you want to reach out to him, maybe wait a couple days because it's not probably the best time to reach out to him about any insurance needs because like everybody in the chat right now, most people in the chat, everyone's raging, rightfully so, I guess,
including Mark.
Yes, including Mark.
Okay, back to it, guys. Subscribe if you're here. Year-round content for Padres fans. Smash the like button for us. We know it's a disappointing night. Thank you for the supers. Thank you for following us on X at John Schaefer at Jim Russell SD. We'll get to every single super chat here tonight. We'll be here as long as we need to here tonight as the Padres season is over. They lose 2-0 to the Dodgers. Pharaoh Fam says, with the entire current roster assembled, what percentage of the team you think will be back? That's a really good question. Of the 26 on this active roster, how many of those players won't be here? How about that? Tanner Scott's a free agent. He's gone.
Jurickson Profar.
Let's go through. Jurickson Profar's a free agent. I don't think he's going to take some discount. He might want to be here, but you're going to have to at least pony up to some extent. Multiple years, I would think. DM the link. Can you DM the link?
Yeah, just continue talking.
You go up and down that lineup right now. Arise is under control. Cease is under control. King is under control. Again, Musgrove's out for next year. Darvish is under control. I mean, your big pieces are back, is the point. Like, basically the entirety. Now, Profar is part of that. Scott is part of that. But, like, I would say, like, most linchpins, Jim, like, most of the pieces, your core, you can run it back with.
Yeah, you're going to have the core coming back. Cease will be back. Arise will be back. You still got Merrill, Manny, Tatis, Bogarts, Darvish. The big problem is Musgrove missing the entire season.
Sure. But at least you can address it. Like, you know that's happening going into the offseason.
Yeah, you will have Jason Adam. You will have Robert Suarez. You will have Jeremiah Estrada. You will have Higgy. Michael King is back as well. Like, you have pieces. You just gotta you have to run out the edges here.
All right, we're gonna welcome in Darnay Tripp from NBC7.
He said stand by.
The one moment. What is that?
Oh, he said stand by.
Oh yeah, nothing like joining us and then be like peace.
He's like, hey, nice show. It's like the Padres offense, just in and out.
Murray, thanks, man. And he says, I warned you guys for 3 days, had to feed cash cow. Well, I don't remember.
I mean, I wasn't gonna for the next 3 after they won game 2 be like, well, season's over. Like, they're 2-1.
Exactly. What are we supposed to say?
Yeah.
Dave says, thank you, Dave. He says, pretty shameful. That's all I got. Pouring another bourbon. That kind of night.
Buddy.
That kind of night. All right, let's get Darnay in here. Friend of the show, Darnay Tripp, NBC7, who hosts the On Fryer podcast, is a great channel for Padres fans. There's your plug. Darnay has joined us a lot more than we've joined him over the years because he's always on the radio with us on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760. And you've done an amazing job covering this team throughout the course of 2024. So I'm sure you feel similar to a lot of Padres fans that this was an extremely disappointing end to a thing that had a ton of promise as recently as just a couple of days ago.
No doubt. And you can get my full thoughts on the On Fire podcast episode I just dropped on the NBC7 YouTube page. On Fire podcast, unlike the wrap-up show, we read your comments for free.
Here's the thing, Darnay. If you saw our chat
glad
tonight,
we invited you.
Yeah, great. Awesome. You saw our chat tonight, you probably would not want to read these comments.
Was it all Dodger fans? Because that's how it was for me.
Yeah, see what happened was I mean, we had to put a lock on who could comment because of how bad it was. I mean, you had Dodger trolls left and right.
Yeah,
just cursing people out.
You guys get a little more traffic than we do, so I'm sure you've been inundated by it. But yeah, it was discouraging to never see the team that we saw all season long, particularly in the second half.
Yeah.
And like they hadn't, like the last time they'd been shut out before game 4 was the first game of the second half. And so from game 100 on, 0 shutouts, 2 consecutive to end the season. And like Grit Squad, and I don't know what you guys have been saying, like a lot of people are saying no heart, didn't show up, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if I'm there, like they didn't want it, blah, blah, blah. I just think they're in a tough game. Like game 4, definitely really flat. Didn't have it tonight for whatever reason, but I'm not necessarily jumping to that conclusion. It was just like the identity of the team going back to like the second Soul Series game when Mike Schill literally called it like this is an identity game. And as it turned out, he was right because that was kind of their calling card. They were tough, they were resilient, they put up big numbers. And for 24 straight innings, it never showed up. And they got behind in 2 games and they never showed up and they never had that spark or that big inning. And I think that's what is hard to process right now because like you think you know somebody and you think you know a team. And I think as a fan, all you want is like your best version to show up in a game like this. And then you kind of live and die with the results. And they got a certainly good enough version of Yu Darvish. And I even referenced you, Jim, because I've been listening to you the last couple of days, just like if they can get 5 out of Darvish, they can get 5 out of Darvish, They got 6 2/3 with 2 runs. That should have been more than enough. But I don't think, we were tracking the innings going into like the first one. It was like, whatever, 16 innings or whatever it was in a row. But in my mind, I'm like, all right, that's not going to last. And John, I think you even were like, yeah, it needs to end tonight. And at the time I was like, of course it's going to end tonight. And that's just so mind-boggling that they would end on a drought like that and just like never have the spark or the resilience or kind of that fight that we saw all season long.
Yeah, I
would also say like, yeah, what do you got?
No, sorry, go, John.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that like Machado's not getting younger. He's had opportunities in the postseason. We read off his postseason numbers. It's not all on Machado. Jim said that earlier. I completely agree. It's not all on any one. It just isn't. But heavy is the head that wears the crown, which I haven't said in months.
Right.
Because he's been so damn good. But like you look at his career postseason numbers, and they're not Bryce Harper's numbers, and they're not Hall of Fame caliber player numbers in the postseason. I get it. The sample sizes are smaller in the postseason than they are in the regular season. But next year he's 33. It's injury after injury, and he produces. He does. He gets the back of the baseball card numbers like he always wants to talk about. But unfortunately, the back of the baseball card does not have good postseason numbers. And maybe he's a nice piece on a team that one day wins a World Series. I don't know if he's ever carrying a team to a World Series. Maybe that's going to be Tatis's responsibility and Jackson Merrill's responsibility. But at some point, you're going to say Manny Machado's numbers are going to dip. That's how baseball works. The guys get older. The numbers aren't as good. It's inevitable, right? Without steroids, like it's inevitable. The numbers dip. Post-steroid era guys in their late 30s, not in his late 30s, but numbers get worse. I just want to see Manny Machado produce for a team that gets close to winning a World Series. And unfortunately, like he hasn't been that guy.
Yeah, I'm a little more harsh than you, Darnay, as you would probably expect.
I'm shocked.
Like I'm just shocked at what we watched the last 2 games. And I was preaching it all on Thursday and all today that this team this year has instilled an identity of fighting and grit and never giving up. And they just did not look even remotely close to the team that we saw in the entire second half tonight, especially. I mean, tonight they didn't put anything together. They had one moment in the game and Tatis grounded into a double play. The at-bats were not good. Did you guys
talk about that pitch? I think I spent like 5 minutes on that pitch.
It was down. It was ball 4.
It was off the plate.
No. The curveball. The curveball that he thought about. No, and he didn't swing.
Oh, that pitch was so. I know he didn't swing. It was right in his freaking wheelhouse.
He was looking for something
right
different.
In the middle, and I don't know what. Like I joked on our pod. Like I want an oral history of that pitch because like he saw it. Like he saw it and he thought about it, and maybe the movement or something threw him off. I mean, those like it's easy for me to be here. Like, why didn't he swing at that curveball? Like I'm sure
I just can't.
Yamamoto's got like stuff that moves all over, like it might be harder. It is a lot harder to line up than we give him credit for. But I mean, it was just like that's Tatis, Dodger Stadium, right down the middle. He clearly like thought he saw it and then doesn't pull the trigger. And you're like, this guy that like, when does Fernando Tatis Jr. shy away from offering it a pitch that he think he can do some damage on? It just seems so uncharacteristic of him, and not a single base runner after that pitch. After that ground out.
Yeah, it was awful. Tatis had his worst game of the series and his worst game of the postseason by far. It's just really hard for me to like get super mad at Tatis tonight because he carried them up until this point. You needed help. You needed some help from somewhere. And I looked at the lineup and we read off the numbers. It's 7 games, okay, but there were 3 guys in this lineup that did anything in this postseason: Tatis, Peralta, Higashioka. That was it. Everybody else was MIA, maybe had one moment here or there. Merrill, I would maybe put in the category of okay, but he didn't do anything in the last 3 games. And
I didn't realize Manny struck out 9 times in 28 at-bats.
Yeah, he had an awful postseason.
Cronenworth 9 times
he also,
22. Jeez.
And Machado also had, and I'd have to watch this back, and maybe you remember the exact moment better than I do, one of you two. Machado also had a breaking ball left completely over the plate that he did not swing at.
Yep.
And I think he didn't. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. He missed one. He swung fastball at a pitch that was right in his wheelhouse during that really bad AB in the 7th inning.
Yeah.
And again, it's like everything's magnified. Like, of course, it can happen in a regular season. To your point, Darnay, it's incredible. They basically go 70 games without getting shut out from game 100 to game whatever this was, 169. Yeah. Not that nice. And to not get shut out for 70 games and then get shut out in back-to-back games like that. This is the part of baseball that is so damn. When you're on the wrong side of it, it's humbling and cruel. When you're on the right side of it, it's the Suarez triple play. Like you can dream up all these stupid scenarios in your head. I never thought a Suarez triple play got him into the postseason. I never thought 24 straight innings without scoring was their way out. Like that wasn't in my lexicon at any point in those games. And here we are. That's baseball.
Yeah. Did you see the stat from AJ Cassavell, Darnay?
The 33-year thing.
This was the longest scoreless streak for a postseason team in 33 years.
Good gracious.
Isn't that crazy? I couldn't believe that.
Like, what?
It made me, I mean, this is like totally random, but it makes me think of that James Harden Rockets team that missed 27 3-pointers.
27 straight.
Again, it was against the Warriors, right?
Yes, I remember that very vividly. Yes.
And you're like, there's no way that could happen. There's no way a team with James Harden that's built on the three ball could miss 27 in a row. If they make 2, they win that game. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if the Padres score in 2 innings, they win the series. Like that's it. That's all they had to do. And it's truly unfathomable. And no, I had not seen that AJ Cassavell, but that doesn't surprise me. It's like, how often do you see a team go through 2.5 games,
shut out in 3 games? Yeah.
Just like they're out in the wild card. They're obviously out in the DS. Like it's just,
Darnay,
I'll never be able to make sense of it.
No, I won't either.
And somebody just points out in the chat, like Ohtani didn't do anything.
I know.
Didn't do anything. Freddie Freeman had 1 hit. Max Muncy was like 0 for 2. They did like I started the pod by being like, Darvish 6 2/3, 2 runs. All these guys didn't do anything. Like if I told you that before the game, you're like, they won 7-0. They won like 6-2. It's going to be a landslide.
Well, here's the other thing. Miguel Rojas is like, screw Miguel Rojas for being out because Kike Hernandez isn't even playing for them if Miguel Rojas is healthy. And this is why I said with Freeman earlier in the week, I said, you almost want a non-fully healthy Freddie Freeman in there because guys like Kike Hernandez can be problems in a postseason series. And they kept illustrating it. A home run every 13 ABs in his postseason career. He just has a knack for big moments. He came through again. maybe it's not as simple as that, but you know what I mean? It's just like he's one of these annoying pests that, again, that's what separates good teams from really good teams. Like they got good players in their lineup, and then they got guys at the back of their lineup that are capable of producing too.
Mm-hmm.
And the Padres didn't have that this time around.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys spent any time on like the decision to send Darvish back out there in the 7th. Kind of ends up being moot since they didn't score a single run. So like
we did a little bit.
What does that really mean in the scheme of things? But you know, if they had scored 1 or scored 2 and lost in extras, then that becomes, you know, Mike Schilt avoided like a real talk point, a point of criticism, like you guys have spoken about, like everybody's spoken about with Bob Melvin and how he managed, you know, his bullpen.
Bob Melvin
in the Philly series. You know, that would have been probably some of the dialogue, some of the discourse around Mike Schilt, had things gone a different way. The fact that they don't even show up offensively kind of takes them off the hook for that, because that in and of itself was so uncharacteristic for Mike Schilt, who would gleefully pull a guy after like 5-6 innings, 70 pitches, and be like, he did his job. And the rest of us are like, well, why not let him do his job for another inning? You know what I mean?
Can I make this point though?
Go ahead.
You just reminded me of something though, Darnay, to cut you. I mean, when I think back in the series real quick, it's like they had 3 wins, they just didn't secure them. And it wasn't games 4 or 5, but it was game 1.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it was hook, line, and sinker their game, but when you have a 3-0 and 5-3 lead, 3-0 and 5-3, multiple run leads. And you're right, Ohtani did not, quote unquote, kill them in this series, but man, that moment in the first game was huge. And Mike Schilt's decision to pitch to him in that first inning was huge. Not to say that Betts wouldn't come through behind him. He may have, but he may not have. And we will never know. It's the Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop conversation. But I feel like the 3 wins they had, they didn't win all 3 of them. You know, like they had, not that they fully had game 1. It's not the 9th inning with 2 outs and everything unravels, but in the postseason, you got to hold 3-run leads and 2-run leads, and they were capable. They put themselves in a position where they could have won 3 of these 5 games, and they squandered it. And that's another thing I'm going to be thinking about this offseason.
Well, and look, like real quick, and like these numbers aren't as drastic as maybe they could. I looked it up after I think during Game 4. Like their scoring splits, first 3 innings, last 6. And I think if you take out Game 2, the one game the entire postseason where they scored consistently throughout, it's like 19-1 or something like that in runs in the first 3 innings compared to the last 6. And that's to your point, John. You jump in Yamamoto, you get 5 runs across, and then you just sit on that and hope that you hold off. Obviously, in a Dodgers lineup that has some thump to it and has some firepower to it, it's just not going to happen. And that didn't bite them against the Braves, but like it was bound to at some point. And Game 1 was that game, and it was easy to kind of flush and forget about it after Game 2. But we had no idea what was coming like after, and then it shows up again. Like even in that Game 2 win, or Game 3 win, explosive inning, not a darn thing after that. It's just crazy.
So how many innings did the Dodgers bullpen pitch tonight? 4?
Not that many.
Yeah, 4.
4?
Yeah,
okay.
5, yeah.
So Kevin put in his article the other day the splits between starters and relievers. And in the postseason, the Padres against relievers for the Braves and the Dodgers, 38 1/3 innings, they scored 7 runs. And their average was 165 before tonight. It went down. I don't know what's it at now, but I mean, you probably hit around 150 as a team against the opposing team's bullpen in the postseason. Like, you're not going to win a World Series if you can't score off an opposing team's bullpen. Like, that is such a key component to a World Series winning team. Is you need timely hitting late in the game against a opposing team's bullpen. You need to have good starting pitching, and you need to have kind of the luck of your luck to go the right way a little bit at times. But most importantly, you have to get clutch hitting off of opposing team's bullpen. And the entire postseason, they were MIA. They could not get it done.
And Joe Davis made the point that the Dodgers really managed the thing effectively. Like, credit where credit's due. because Fernando Tatis Jr. saw 7 pitchers his last 9 plate appearances and only one guy back-to-back, and it was Yamamoto tonight. So in his last 9 plate appearances in the series, he saw 7 different pitchers. That's hard on anyone. That's abnormal. It is not seen in regular seasons. It's not even seen in postseasons unless the Dodgers employed the strategy of a bullpen day in day 4 and overextending the bullpen even throughout the course of the series. They used high leverage guys for 4 times in 5 games. There were multiple off days in the series. It's like, you got to sometimes give credit where credit's due. And, Dave Roberts managed effectively this postseason. He flat out did. I mean, that 4th game, the way they managed it with their bullpen, like you beat Dylan Cease on 3 days rest against the bullpen, and the Padres were a favorite at home, and they got beat in that game. And maybe the Padres, with the benefit of hindsight, would have preferred to do something like the Dodgers did in Game 4, which was to go to 7 or 8 relievers, not let any hitter see anyone a second time at any point. And again, that doesn't mean you're going to score. You could have gone 9 shutout innings in Game 4. It doesn't mean you're going to score, but
if Dylan
it does feel like they got beat.
Given up 1 run, they still would have lost.
But it does feel like the Padres bullpen was as good as the Dodgers in the regular season, yet it didn't seem like they were able to take advantage of that here in this 5-game series.
Yeah. And I need to hop off and do my real job.
No, you need to do a show. You need to do your job. Okay, thanks for joining.
Sorry, guys. I don't have you on my podcast at 4:00 in the afternoon.
You want us on your podcast at 4:00 in the afternoon?
Yeah. If you're not busy, but usually weekdays from 3 to 6, you guys usually have your hands full. The one thing I was going to say when you were saying that, and credit where credit's due. Like the Dodgers that we saw throughout the regular season also were not the Dodgers that we saw, even going back to the last series of the regular season, when you're like, okay, this bullpen's got nobody in it worth a darn. And once you get past the first 3 to 5 hitters, bottom of the order is a black hole. And what was the story even in that series during the regular season? It's like having trouble getting through like 6, 7, 8, 9 and struggling to score against the Dodgers bullpen. The Kopech addition was huge. Yeah. Trying back healthy, pitching at a high level was massive for them. And it wasn't Ohtani. It wasn't necessarily Betts that killed you this series. It was Kike coming through. It was guys drawing walks and extending innings and getting Ohtani back up and that sort of thing. And that's kind of like the dumb thing with baseball is like you can be one team the entire regular season, 150 plus games, something clicks, somebody gets healthy the last month, and then suddenly you shore up what would be a perceived weakness. And the Padres weren't the team that we, saw all year these last few days, and the Dodgers weren't either. They were a better version, and that hasn't been the case for the Dodgers in previous regular seasons or postseasons.
Mike Schilt in decisive games. To go back to 2020, by the way, real quick. He lost a decisive game at Petco Park. I know it was a weird year. Tonight he gets beat in a decisive game. Not that it's Mike Schilt against Dave Roberts. I mean, that they're not playing each other. But again, these things are real. And these are the moments that are remembered.
He lost the 2021 wild card game against the Dodgers, by the way.
And 93 wins is a good regular season, but like the difference between good and great year, and I think we all agree, and then we'll let you run, Darnay. Like for me, this is going to be remembered as a good year. It is.
Good year.
But to put it in that caliber of like special or
it's not
the most memorable season, I mean, it was a good year that had great moments within it, but they left something out there. They didn't have to, for me, they didn't have to win a World Series. Of course, you always want to win a World Series. I get that, only one team standing, but they had to make a run. And this wasn't enough for me to have said that they made that run. It would have been disappointed no matter how they lost. If it was to the Mets, if it was to the Yankees, if it was to the Guardians, whomever, that would have been disappointing. But I think they needed to win another series for me to make this truly memorable. And because of that, they left something out there,
Yeah, something left to be desired.
You're right in that it feels like a season full of special moments. Whether or not it's a special season, I don't know. I mean, there's a difference there, and you're right. If any sport, if you get to your conference championship game, you're facing a really stinking good team, and it can go either way. And just like they did with the Phillies, and so you can't be mad at that. But you end up in this kind of like Area 51 where we can't really call for anybody's head. There's going to be people that want roster movement and for good reason, but you're not going to call for, no reasonable person is going to call for AJ Peller's or Mike Schultz's head.
100%.
But they didn't do quite enough to be like, for it to be remembered in the same sense that 2022 was, when they did slay the dragon, when they went on the road and won a wild card series. And you've got Jake Cronenworth capping a 5-run rally. You've got Josh Hader striking out Freddie Freeman. It's at Petco Park. Like, the Brave series is awesome. But there just wasn't as much there in October to kind of make it feel like, yeah, this was a really good season. Borderline great season, special season, lots of special moments, like no-hitter, comebacks, walk-offs, Jackson Merrill.
Triple play.
Triple play.
I kind of like the 2024 team. I kind of like the 2024 team more than 2022.
100%.
But I like the 2022 result.
That's the weird thing. Like, I think a way more likable team. You don't have the whole Fernando Tatis Jr. thing, on top of it. That you did in 2022, obviously. I think this was a really easy team to root for and get behind. And so that part of it made it fun. And I think the guys talked about like this feeling that they belong here, where they maybe didn't have that in 2022. They just got hot and were like, all right, we'll see where this takes us. They felt and looked and had every reason to believe that they belonged here. You went to a game 5 against a good team. You didn't win the game 5. That's kind of sports, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Real quick, in 60 seconds, Darnay, plug whatever you want to plug and get out of here.
Why are you going to break? You guys got a hard network out or something?
No, we ain't going no fucking break, bro. There's no fucking breaks here.
You can cuss on this pod? Wait a second.
Yes, you can. Say whatever you want.
No.
Yeah,
I still have to act responsibly.
Darnay's like me.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah. I mean, John's not going to do it now and then accidentally have an F-bomb drop in the middle of like a Marquez Cooper touchdown run. That would be good.
Can you imagine?
Holy fucking shit. That's a fucking touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, Jim will play it fast and loose. I'm just too paranoid to do all that. Yes. On Friar podcast. It's been fun. We've got, for our standards, great numbers during the postseason. It's been a lot of fun. Tapping into a little bit of what you guys do with postgame pods.
Go check it out.
We're not on your level, but yes, just got off of my Game 5 recap. So if you're in the mood for more processing of what just happened, go hit that up. And then we'll have recaps on at 11 o'clock, NBC7. And I'm sure we'll be talking Padres still on Sunday. We won't have a game to talk about, but I'm sure they'll be part of the discussion on Sports Wrap as well.
How is it only 9 o'clock? It feels like it's 2 a.m.
Because the game lasted
10 o'clock here.
Oh,
the game was so quick.
Yeah,
it's about 10 o'clock in Wyoming.
So fast, dude.
Yeah. Are you breathing heavily?
I appreciate you, man.
You breathing heavily out there?
What's that?
You breathing heavily up there?
Dude, I'm not kidding. I thought I was going to have a heart attack like 6 times. I talked to Jim on the radio at 5:30, and I was walking at the same time. I couldn't breathe. And then walking back from the lounge to my room, I thought I was going to die before the wrap-up just started. I have no clue how anyone can breathe here.
You need your beat pills. Do you take any beat pills?
Lord, help me on the calls tomorrow because I'm going to need it. Darnay, thanks, man. Great stuff all year. Seriously, we appreciate everything you've done for us on the radio and the wrap-up show, and we'll be talking later in the month.
You guys are the best. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro.
Later, man. Darnay Tripp, NBC7. Find the On Fire podcast on YouTube. Let's get back to some of the actually, before we get to this is very generous. We're going to get to all the supers tonight. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, honestly, there's so many people here. There's a lot. I got no problem. We just know where to go. We can be here as long as we need to be here. So please subscribe because we're past 7,600 subscribers tonight with your help. If this team would have kept going, we probably could have gone to 8, 9, 10,000 subscribers this year. So if you haven't subscribed, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, please do it. We have year-round content for you. Plus, we appreciate all the supers. We know we're well behind. We're going to get to all of them here tonight. But before we do that, I do want to remind our viewers about our friends over at Mova Globes. Unfortunately, you don't see a Padres globe on the screen right here. Actually, can you pull down your Padres globe? Because I don't have one, obviously, in Wyoming. But this is a great holiday gift idea, honestly. We're going to – the sun will rise again tomorrow unless you live in Del Mar where the freaking marine layer has been heavy. But the sun is going to rise tomorrow. Or IB or PB, truthfully, because I've been talking to Rich. But the sun's going to come up, and the holidays are going to be here, and you're looking for great gift ideas, and these really are great gift ideas. Officially licensed Mova Globes for all 30 teams, all 30, including the Padres. Pick them up for the holidays. Your family's going to love them. They've got more than just MLB globes. They've got all types of globes. And you can check them out by clicking the link in the description down below. Plus, if you use promo code PWS10, that's PWS10, you're going to get 10% off. So PWS10, get 10% off. Pick them up for the holidays. They'll look good in spring training 2025. I promise you that as well. So if you haven't picked up a MOVA Globe, such a cool technology. No cords, no wires. They spin automatically. Based in San Diego. Technology invented here at Cardiff by the Sea. Pick them up. Click that link in the description down below. Remember to use promo code PWS10. Let's get to it here. Joshua, thank you, man. He says, this is for you guys. Appreciate you too for providing an outlet for the fans, win or lose. Disappointing way to go out, but we'll be back. Friars out. Heart, love, emojis, and peace. I would just say this, not to like pat ourselves on the back, but you guys have created an amazing community built around the wrap-up show, and everyone should be proud of that. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, like, I mean, with baseball, it's an everyday thing. So you got, I mean, I'm in fucking Wyoming. Jim isn't, but I mean, like, we do this thing day in and day out, and it doesn't stop for anything or anyone. I mean, it barely stopped for Jim's wedding, truthfully. Mm-hmm. When he decided to get married, when Juan Soto was making his return to Petco Park. Good call. So we appreciate your support because we kind of try to work around the clock to support this community. So we do appreciate your support of the channel.
Yeah, everything John said. Thanks, Joshua. It's a labor of love.
Yeah. Nice shot getting married, you idiot.
Well, here's the thing. Like, without all of you watching us, and we have well over 1,000 people watching tonight. Without you, this doesn't like make it worth it. You know, like if we had nobody watching us, obviously we wouldn't be doing this. But because of all you out there wanting this show, watching this show, subscribing, liking our stuff, you know, it makes it all worth it. And we know that you want the content, so we're happy to give you this Padres content throughout the season.
No doubt about it. If you want it, by the way, into the offseason, click the link in the description down below. There's a Discord channel where you can continue to talk and communicate with Padres fans. So you can join our Discord channel. Click that link in the description down below. And, of course, as there is news, we will have it for you here on the wrap-up show throughout the course of the offseason.
Yeah, we might take
Darapod, thank you.
So we might have a little bit of a break depending on what news happens going forward.
Yeah, I think we should do kind of like a recap at some point once we have less of the emotions in how emotional tonight is. But yes, obviously
I'm still pissed.
That's the thing. Darapot, thank you. 5 or 6 balls hit off Yamamoto 100+ miles per hour, and it just didn't go our way. Let's get healthy and come back stronger. We got to tip our cap to the Dodgers bullpen. They executed all of their pitches. There were some decently well hit balls early. Nothing where you had to make some diving play or leaping grab. They were well hit. They weren't extremely well hit to the warning track, but not to the wall. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to be like, man, if that was an inch to the left, it would have hit the foul ball. That didn't happen tonight. You know what I mean? I mean, they hit a couple of balls early well, but they just had no opportunity. There was no rally other than one. And even the one rally was like so short-lived that yeah, I mean, sometimes it is baseball. Sometimes you hit balls hard and there are outs. I didn't feel like they hit the ball overly hard. They had some well hit balls, but they didn't hit it consistently well throughout the course of the night. That's for sure.
They're honestly, when I saw that stat, I was kind of shocked by it.
Like, huh? Yeah, like really?
Where are these hard hit balls that? I mean, yeah, hard hit balls, but nothing was stressful about them. Like, there was no really. Hard hit ball that was lazy. Like, yeah, there was nothing that was hit hard that to me looked like stressful for the Dodgers defense.
There wasn't. You're right.
You know, nothing about it. And I haven't seen any quotes from Schilt. I haven't seen any quotes from players. I haven't seen anything post game. I'd be curious to see what Mike Schilt had to say about the loss. Of course, he's going to be the most positive person on the planet. He's not going to say his team didn't show up. Or they choked away a 2-1 lead. But yeah, dude, it just fucking sucks. Sucks. There's nowhere else to put it.
Yeah. Like Machado said, I see from Marty, it's tough, man. Just proud of how this team fought, and we fought to the end. This team's going to be together for a long time. Padres players hugged and said their goodbyes in a quiet clubhouse. Manny Machado on a special season. that fell short. And like you said, you're only going to be complimentary at this point if you're the Padres players or the coaching staff, but there'll be some I don't know. I mean, there's just going to be a lot of like second guessing, I guess, or like what could have been with this team as recently as 2 days ago, what we were thinking about. And it's like the air was all let out of the balloon, like immediately.
Like, yes, they're second guessing with game 1 and the decision to start Cease yesterday, but I mean, they just didn't show up offensively the last 2 nights.
Right.
Like, that's what it came down to, and that's the toughest pill to swallow, I think, as a baseball player, and especially as a fan, to watch your team just not show up. Like, if they fought to the end, and if this game was like a 3-2 loss or a 4-3 loss, or if they went out into an early 2-0 lead in this game, like, you could, I mean, yeah, everybody would be pissed, but at least you could say, like, hey, man, we fought. But in that clubhouse right now, you can't really say that. I mean, you can say it, but no one's going to believe you because of what they just watched these last 2 nights.
Where are you at, Productions, man? Longtime supporter of the channel. Thank you for the super chat. Guys, if you are here, by the way, I kind of like having it where only subscribers can be in the chat, because then that kind of is a reason why people would subscribe to the channel. But where are you at, Productions? Thank you. Says, I feel defeated. I hope this team would fight for the city, fight for Peter, fight for the fans. But Jim said that they choked. It's hard to have hope that this team will win a World Series. So disappointing. Again, I think you have to be careful to say that, like, two things can be true. They lost, but I don't think they lost by not fighting. Like, there was a 2023 team where they admitted, like, in games, like, we didn't really try to win. We like weren't really into it. I don't think that was the story of 2024. Like, I don't think tonight they quote unquote didn't fight for Peter. Like, that is an unfair statement to make, in my opinion, but they came up short. And to say, is it hard to have hope that they're going to win a World Series? Sure, okay, I get it. They've never won one previously. It's not like you're sitting here saying, hey, next year we're definitely winning a World Series. But I don't think they lacked fight, truthfully, even in these last 2 losses.
No, I think they fought, but there's definitions to me of fighting. Like, what we saw and what we witnessed the last 2 nights, that team, I have not seen that team for a long time. Like, I just maybe a couple times in the first half of the season, maybe like on that 6-game road trip against like Philadelphia and New York, right? But that was so long ago. Those things happen in a regular season. They happen. And I think the stat that is telling to me why I consider it to be a choke and why I consider it to be so infuriating is that no team in the last 33 years have gone as many scoreless innings offensively than the Padres just did against the Dodgers. Like, that is an incredible feat that they just had. 24 scoreless innings, longest scoreless inning streak in 33 years. Are you kidding me?
Right. You're not trying to set that record. Like, that's the opposite of what you're trying to do.
They just, it just feels like offensively they were doing a lot of uncharacteristic things. A lot. And that's a tough pill to swallow when you've prided yourself on being who you are, and then they completely just are not who they are.
Let's get to some of these super chats that are rolling in. Guys, please subscribe here on Content For You and smash the like button. And thank you for the supers. We'll get to all of them here tonight. Padres season is over in Los Angeles at the hands of the Dodgers of all teams. They lose it 2-0. They lose a decisive 5th game. Douglas, thank you. Says, longtime Dodger fan here. I like this show. Padres had a great season. Dodger Penn had to win the series, and they did. I appreciate you, Douglas. We actually have a lot of non-troll Dodger fans that have been longtime supporters of the channel, and we do appreciate that. I think if you just get into the sheer baseball of this, Jim, and let the emotions go to the side, what the Dodgers took advantage of over the last 2 days was their very capable bullpen. And what the Dodgers offense did that the Padres offense didn't do is they probably stayed more true to themselves. And they got more production out of more players over the course of 5 games. So, again, to your point, it wasn't Freeman, it wasn't Betts, it wasn't Ohtani. But they got production from Teoscar Hernandez. They got Kike Hernandez. And they allowed their bullpen to be successful. The Padres never gave it to their bullpen in game one with a 3-0 or 5-3 lead. We don't know what would have happened if the bullpen had a 3-0 or 5-3 lead. Yeah. The Dodgers got it to their bullpen with a lead and preserved leads, and the Padres didn't get it to their bullpen in game one with a lead, and that could have been the difference between winning and losing the series.
Look, if the Dodgers win the World Series, credit to them. I hate saying that, but credit to them, because going forward, they are going to be patchworking every single pitching move that they make. They have
very hard. Yep.
They have 2 starters, and they tax their bullpen in this series. I said the other day that if this goes 5, it kind of feels a little bit to me like 2021 between the Dodgers and Giants. That series went 5. They were battling all year long against each other. Giants came out, won the division by a game. That year, the Dodgers actually walked off a Mike Schilt Cardinals team at home in the wild card round to advance. And they beat the shit out of each other in a 5-game series, and the Dodgers ended up losing the NLCS.
To Atlanta, yep.
I kind of feel the same way here, that one, the Mets just, like, you talk about the Padres special stuff that happened this season. Dude, the Mets were on like special steroids as far as what has gone on with them the last month in the second half. They are doing things and you know, coming back in ways.
I agree.
Like, that is scary as hell. So look, if the Dodgers get past
this
the Mets,
isn't some formality. Yeah, this isn't a formality. But we also have to admit that it's at least possible. Like, you can't rule it out. And I'm with you. I think it's a tough hill to climb. I hear it from Dodger fans. I've seen people in the chat. I've seen people on social media. I've heard from pundits. I've heard from people that cover the team. I don't know if they're going to do it or not. I do feel as if it's not going to be easy, but we'll wait and see how it plays out. Ryan, thank you for the generous super chat. He says, thanks for the great season, y'all. Thank you, Ryan. Seriously, thank you for your support of the channel. Harv, thank you for your support from Europe. We met someone, by the way, downtown just the other day. I forget his name. I think it was David, that watches us from Tel Aviv. We've got people in Europe. We have people in Asia. Obviously, we have tons of people that watch us from Mexico that are San Diego Padres fans. So we appreciate you wherever you're watching from here tonight, or maybe it's within the next 24 or 48 hours. Harv says Crohn's Zone has been doing niche for 4 months out. I mean, the Cronenworth thing's an interesting conversation, Jim, moving forward. He's not getting younger. They're paying him decently well. I don't even know what to think about Jake Cronenworth. Is that fair to say? I probably need more time to think about it. Is Jake Cronenworth an everyday player for a World Series caliber team?
He just had an awful final month of his season.
Like, he did.
And he had moments, but oh my God, just, he was a black hole in that lineup for the last month plus. I want to say month plus.
Yes, you're 100% right. Yes.
You couldn't put him anywhere. You couldn't put him anywhere. It was a disaster. And looking at, and we haven't even mentioned this yet, but I do think it's fair to say that injuries played a role here. I'm not using it as an excuse. It's not an excuse at all. Not an excuse. So don't even start. But, you know, Joe gets injured. That causes the trickle-down effect of Game 4.
What did we say in real time? What did I say?
There goes your advantage. There goes your advantage. And then I'm not saying Kim is like this world beater, but he would have, I think, been an option where you would consider sitting Jake Cronenworth, especially against lefties late in the game, because that was such an easy matchup for Dave Roberts to go to have just Vesia face Cronenworth. I mean, Cronenworth, Jake had no shot, none. He had nothing there. It was an automatic out, and you lost that there. And so you had Solano for one guy. It was either going to be Peralta or Higgy or Jake, and they're not taking out Jake. So
correct.
Yeah, brutal.
Vector 53, appreciate you. Longtime viewer and supporter of the channel, so thank you so much, man. He says, absolute failure to end this season. Felt like the 2023 season in 2 games. No fight heart besides you, who went out there like a champ. the players let Peter down, especially the ones who were paid big. No, I think that's also too far. It is sports. The other team's trying to win. They didn't let anyone down. That wasn't their intent. To the point where Darvish even tapped his chest on the PS logo before he pitched the first pitch of the game. And yeah, you wish you could come through for, you wish you could play for someone bigger than yourself. You wish that this is like, you're going to do it for your owner that wished that for this moment for such a long time. It doesn't always work like that. It wasn't meant to be. It's real. At the end of the day, we like to think that these things are a factor. Maybe they are. You're playing for something larger than yourself. You're playing for your former owner who passed. But it's sports, and the other team's trying to win too. And that alone isn't going to be the difference between winning and losing, unfortunately, as much as we wish it were to be. And I don't think they let anyone down. I mean, I know they let fans down. I don't think the Seidler family has been let down by this team's performance. That's the team tried to win. They didn't win. That is sports.
And I see in the chat, David, sorry. Yes, Kopech struck out. Cronenworth late in that game. Vesia left. That's a big problem for the Dodgers if Vesia is hurt, by the way. But it didn't matter. Anybody could have faced Cronenworth, and he was not coming through. It did not matter who he was facing. But when he did face a lefty, it was night, game over. Like, that's it.
Correct.
Yeah. So and again, to the whole Peter Seidler thing, they did not let Peter down. They did not let the Seidler family down. They, yes, choked away this series up 2-1 and then going 24 straight scoreless innings.
Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks. But they didn't give up. I mean, they just became a baseball team that we haven't seen in 2 months. Like, they just reverted back to a lot of bad tendencies and a lot of bad things offensively, where they, as an entire group, were pressing after the second inning when it kind of felt like, series is over. And then look what happened.
This is why they scored. And this is why I said repeatedly for the last 48 hours, and you said the same. You got to go score in the top of the first inning.
Yep.
You got to take pressure off yourself and go put it elsewhere. And once they didn't score, it was like, we didn't score in the first inning off Yamamoto. Now what? What are we supposed to do now that we didn't take advantage of Yamamoto early?
That was a problem.
Joshua, thank you. He says, I'm so pissed off. That's the way you're going to end the season. You gave him a chance, and the offense completely shit the bed. FML. No, I agree, Josh. That's what I was thinking tonight. I'm sitting there watching this game in some lodge in Wyoming. I'm like, really? Like, it's like trying to get your engine to turn over. Like, this engine's good. Like, I just got this car. This is a good car. And really, the car's going to let me down right now? Like, this good. That's how I feel with the Padres. Like, this is a good team. In this moment, you're going to let me down in this moment? That's how I felt. Like, it was super disappointing. To the point of almost shocking, maybe is a little far, but surprising. I thought we were going to get something real tonight. I thought we were going to see some fight. I did not know that they'd win the game or lose the game, but I thought they'd show something more than they showed. And it's like you put the keys in the ignition. Like, you're not expecting the car not to turn on. It's 70 degrees out. It's not snowing. Why is the car not turned on? This team's too good to not freaking turn on when the brights are on. This is Fernando Tatis Jr. They put it up on ESPN, Jim, on social media. Like, life comes at you quick, from Tatis wagging his freaking tongue in game 2 to tonight. Like, that all happened over the course of freaking 96 hours, folks.
Yeah. And they just never got the car out of the driveway tonight. Like, they got in and the car didn't turn on.
Like what? We got a nice car and it didn't freaking work.
That's the most heartbreaking, disappointing part of this whole thing. And it pisses you off because like, I'm not going to say they didn't go out there and try. Like, that's ridiculous to say.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
But I think it does. There's some truth to, they pressed to a point as a team where the fight just wasn't there. Like, when you press so hard, you're forgetting all the little things. You're forgetting the things that got you there. You're forgetting, everything that you've preached over the last 162 days. And it just all went out the window. I mean, that at bat by Manny in the 7th against, was it Trinan? No, sorry.
No. It was actually before. Was
Cope?
it freaking? No, not Kopech. It was
Harris.
Evan Phillips.
Sorry, Phillips. Dude, my head's fucking scrambled.
Yeah.
Evan Phillips, who retired all 12 batters he faced in the series. That at bat right there, I was like, yeah, it's over. Like it just like, didn't you feel that way after that at bat where it's just he looked awful and you're like, that's over, it's done. And they still had 6 outs to play with. And
at 1-0, I didn't know if it was
he didn't get another at bat,
over.
John. He had 3 at bats tonight. If you told me that Machado had only 3 at bats tonight, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Did he have 3 ABs? Because how many men did they send to the plate?
Dude, there were.
How many guys had 4? How many guys had 4 ABs?
2.
So they were 2 over the minimum. They were 2 over the minimum tonight. 2 over the minimum because of the double play.
Oh my God.
2 over the minimum. That's utter insanity. I wasn't even thinking about it in those terms, but 2 batters more than the minimum. They sent 29 to the plate in 9 innings. High Note Music, thank you. He says, I'm done being a Padres fan. Can't take the pain anymore. Don't be done being a Padres
You'll be back.
fan. Come on.
Don't worry. You'll be back. I get it.
Don't take the easy way out.
I get it. It sucks. And this is the worst part about being a sports fan. It truly
now you got to wait a year at least.
And you have to wait 4 months because the worst part here in San Diego, there's nothing to distract you sports-wise other than maybe San Diego State. But if you're not a San Diego State fan, you got nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, even people that I think you know, I think over the winters we've been fortunate to see San Diego State I think there's been a lot of San Diegans that have enjoyed San Diego State basketball.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure. Basketball, really absolutely.
But I mean, I get it. It's not not the Big Four. It's different. It is different. But and you're right, and that's my point earlier. Like the whole San Diego's cursed. Like you got one of the Big Four. Like Chicago's got 5, 6, 7. LA's got 8, 9, 10.
Philadelphia, right?
Like one.
Philadelphia's onto the Eagles season today.
Exactly. It's like Phillies lose, but you can look at the Sixers opening their season.
Yeah, in Philadelphia, the Eagles play this weekend. Of course.
But then there's the Flyers. It's like if we had the Gulls in the NHL and we had the Clippers in the NBA and we had the Chargers in the NFL, it's different. It hurts. I mean, it hurts. But if we had all those at the same time, you'd be turning your attention to the NHL and the NBA and the NFL. But we don't.
And
behind the bar, thank you.
It's it's like one of those it's like what am I trying to say? It helps ease the pain. You can forget about the brutal ending by diving into something else. It doesn't go away ever, but you can kind of try to stick it in the corner. You know, it's always going to be there. This loss as a San Diego sports fan will always be in the corner, along with McCree, along with other Chargers things, around 84, 98. But this one in particular is going to be staring at a lot of Padres fans and San Diego sports fans in the face for a long time.
Yeah, the difference for me, 2020 to me kind of stung that series. I thought there were a couple of really good games, including the ridiculous catch by Bellinger.
They had no pitching.
But it's you didn't have starting pitching. You had no pitching. I just felt like they were well positioned this time around. Now the Musgrove thing hurt. And we said at the second it happened that it was going to be tough to fully overcome. If I'm being honest, in that actual moment that I think they were winning the World Series when they went down one of their primary starters, that made it a lot harder.
Yeah.
But man, they were still set up. They had the rotation that was capable of beating the Dodgers, and they didn't seem as if they feared the Dodgers throughout 2024. It didn't seem to be hey, can we overcome this team? But proof's in the pudding, and the Padres did not show up the last 2 days. They just did not show up. Behind the Bar, thank you, says, I don't want them to celebrate anything other than a World Series win. This was the biggest tease ever. So embarrassing. No one showed up except Tatis. The celebration stuff, they can celebrate. This is how baseball's set up. You get to a postseason, you celebrate. You win a round, you celebrate. I mean, you're supposed to celebrate. But they're not supposed to celebrate. They beat the Braves.
The reason why you
celebrate, they made the postseason.
Dude, you celebrate because of how long the season is, how much of a grind it is. If you don't celebrate, if you don't, then man, that's tough, dude. But oh man, it's brutal. It's brutal.
I know. I must need to stand up, by the way, for a second.
Dude, I know my back is
let me take a 2 second. I need to stand.
We need to stretch a little bit. Hold on.
This is halftime.
A little bit of intermission for the wrap-up show.
Lord.
Oh.
We're doing calisthenics on the wrap-up show. This is a first.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe we should. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I can't
back
get blood
my
clots.
legs.
Oh.
Dude.
Lord help us. We're getting old.
You are. I'm not yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're getting older. When you get 40, you're going to be dead.
It's going to be a problem.
Well, hopefully not.
I wake up some mornings and I'm like, why does my back really hurt? What the fuck?
Yeah, and are you 35?
I'm still 35, John. I'm 35 for the next 10 years.
Honestly, I've known Jim for roughly 7.5 years, and roughly 7.5 of those years he's been 35.
I have not changed. I don't get older.
You haven't. I don't recall you ever being like 28.
No.
But apparently you were. Grayson, thank you. He says, how will the Padres get over this themselves? Players have a funny way to overcome things. As much as fans are going to be unable to sleep for like weeks on end, yes, if I'm Manny Machado, I gotta be. This should sting. But if I'm Alec Jacob, I think I can get on with my life. I mean, I just like, if you're overly concerned.
Here we go. Ready for this one? If you're Nicky Ahmed, you're probably not like devastated after tonight.
I don't care. I don't even think he cares.
He's like, what? Oh, okay.
What? Did Nick Ahmed ever appear in any capacity?
The final 2 games of the season he did.
Yeah, that's right.
They had nothing. Those
I always you've heard me say before. I think it's harder on a fan base than it is on the actual players. I mean, I know it hurts, and you said you saw some of the photos. Like some of these players, they wear it. Like a Jackson Merrill, this meant everything in the world to him, which is amazing. But it's not all like that for all players.
Yeah, I think guys like Merrill, he's going to be hurting for a long time. And as a fan, that's the type of player that I love because it means something to him and it affects him. And he's going to be around for a long time, hopefully. And he's one of the cornerstones of this franchise. And yeah, I mean, it means something to Merrill. And that does suck, to watch that. You're muted, bro.
Oh. How did they lose? Fair, thank you. How did they lose so much energy? It's been a long day, really long. How did they lose so much energy in such a quick manner? They went from confident to scared in the span of an inning after the grand slam by. Well, I don't think so. The grand Tasker and they won the game that there was a grand slam. So it's not like they couldn't have been that scared. It happened very early. I mean, Dodgers didn't score the rest of that game, 6 innings. I don't think they were scared. I think maybe they were tight. I think maybe they didn't meet the moment.
Oh, absolutely, they didn't meet the moment.
Yeah, they didn't meet the moment. Game 5s, man, game 7s. Like, who's ever put in that type of stressful environment? Think about it. You could be a professional athlete for 10 years, but you only play 2 times in a decisive game in your career. 2 times over 10 years. You're put in that pressure-packed situation. Like, how do you respond to that? I mean, it's kind of instinctual. You either react positively or you don't.
Like, look at the Dodgers tonight in the same situation. John, they had 4 hits. I don't think the only stress that was tonight was the 2 home runs. That was it. Did anybody get runners? They were 0 for 1 with runners in the scoring position tonight, the Dodgers.
And the Padres were what? 0 for 1 too, right?
They were 0 for 1 as well. So both teams had a lot of stress on them tonight. And fucking Kike Hernandez, dude. Kike Hernandez.
He freaking killed that ball.
I mean, the Teoscar Hernandez home run was like the insurance run that they needed, I guess, to feel great about themselves. But I mean, 1-0 in this game by the 5th or 6th inning felt like 5-0.
It felt big.
And Smoltz said it on the broadcast. He's like, dude, 1-0 feels sometimes more than that. And that's what absolutely happened.
He was right. I agree. Jason, thank you. By the way, what pissed me off, and he got away with it, is when Joe Davis said, like in the 5th inning, that the Mets will travel to Los Angeles. And he got away with that. He got away with that. I think it was a slip of the tongue, obviously, but he said it like in the 5th inning, and he's right in the end. Jason, thank you. He says, longtime watcher, but seldom chat. Thanks for narrating the season, and you're 100% right, John. Disappointment is the feeling I'll have until spring training to get emotionally invested in this team, only to be heartbroken. Jason, thank you for support of the channel. That's what sports are, man. I mean, they do hurt. I've always said that the lows are way lower than the highs are high with sports. Always have said it. It's like that poker line. You remember the hands you lose way more than the hands you win. And the hands that you lose stick with you and they're seared in your memory. Not as much the highs of winning. And it's just damn true. And you wonder why we all go through it, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's a lot better than consuming your life with the news. I'd rather consume my life with sports than anything real, because this feels real when it hurts like this, and this is authentic and raw. But would we trade it for anything else? Would you want it any other way? Yeah, it can hurt, man. But I mean, these are the memories that you're going to have with you for, these are the days you celebrate with friends and family, and you remember. And I don't even know. It's sports. You get it. It sucks a lot.
Like, I think whoever out there is truly just beside themselves right now, and they just want to punch a wall, and they're pissed off, and they don't want to talk to anybody. First off, if you have a loved one or a significant other, communicate to them, hey, look, in a nice way, I am fucking livid right now. I love you, but I need like 24 hours. And then guess what happens? You'll wake up the next morning. Things will still be bleak, but they'll feel a little better. Not like better as in, oh, you're over it, but it's not going to feel like dread in the end of the world. And then the next day happens, and the following day, and the following week, and the following month. By the time spring training rolls around next season, guess what? Everybody's going to be excited for spring training 2025. It's going to fucking suck until then. But, it's just, as a sports fan, these moments you never want to have, but if you do have them, that means your teams are in positions to win. And that's all you can ask.
I'd much prefer. Yeah. I mean, listen, there's some shit baseball teams out there that are run poorly, that don't try to win, that stumble into a good season every 10th.
Would be a fan of the A's.
Know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, and there's not just, and the A's suck. That's the lowest of the lobes of all the sort. But there's other ones that are just poorly run. The White Sox are one of them, even though they've had decent years and they have won World Series. But I don't know. It's just they're trying, and I trust the Peter Seidler line. But I trust the side of the line one day, like there will be a parade in San Diego. I am a firm believer in it, even on horrific nights like tonight, when you feel like nothing can go right, and here we go again, and why me, why this fan? One day it's going to hit. Unfortunately, we can't say when or how, but it happens, and you can't explain it. But if you try, you got a better chance, is my point. They've put themselves in a position where they're committed to winning. How do I know it? Because I've seen their payrolls go up. I've seen the way they've won. I mean, since 2020, they've won at a decent level. They've had some good teams. 2020 was a good team. 2022 is a good team. 2024 is a good team. That's some good teams. They got to continue to put good teams on the field, and hopefully one day they get the results we all want them to get. Patman 0074, thank you. He says, needed to win for guys like Roki. Are we talking about freaking the guy that's going to be posted, Roki Sasaki? He'll go to LA, only going to remember this team for the disappointment they are. Despicable performance. I mean, I don't know if LA is going to get another Japanese superstar potentially, but tough performance, and disappointing. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, and look, gonna remember this team for the disappointment they are. They had the worst possible ending that you could think of, other than like losing a walk-off in Game 7 of like the NLCS.
Tonight a walk-off would have been horrific.
Tonight, right?
Yeah.
Or like tonight and yesterday and 2 days ago, those losses, those were not on the bingo cards for how they would have lost in the postseason. To go 24 straight scoreless innings, like, give me a fucking break. It was a despicable performance. You're right. But I think as time goes on, yeah, I mean, maybe this team will be remembered as like the what if team, like, and that's the bummer about it because they were a really good team. They had a really good season. They didn't have the best season. They didn't have I feel like, special year, but they had a good season. And yeah, maybe they will be remembered as the what if team that you felt like had the best shot at winning a World Series and then completely went MIA up 2-1 against the Dodgers.
Chucky D, thanks again. He says 142 million tied up in 10 players next year. That includes Hosmer. They're still paying him. And one of those guys makes 20 million, won't throw a pitch next year. We're talking about Musgrove, no left, short, or catcher sign. Good news is we're down to 9 years left of bogey. I mean, the bogey contract, it looms large, obviously. Their financials loom large. They don't have the TV revenue near LA. You're going to have to win it unconventionally. You're not going to win it by outspending LA anymore. And maybe happen for 1 year somehow in there. They're going to be the darlings of free agency. They're going to get guys like Shohei Ohtani. That's not the last big free agent they're ever going to sign over the next 9 years. So you're going to have to win internally with guys like Jackson Merrill. You're going to have to hit on some draft picks. You're going to have to really do well with some of the moves like AJ Preller did this year. I'm talking about the Estradas, the Peraltas, the Solanos. I mean, those are savvy moves that help them win and put them in this position. And you're just going to have to hit at a better rate than other teams that outspend you because the spending, they might be able to be, Jim, in that top 10, 12, 14 caliber, but they're not going to be in the top 1, 2 caliber moving forward.
No, I think they can stay around where they are now. But yeah, I mean, going forward, like all those things are true there, Chucky D, and there's a lot of bad contracts and there's a lot of players that are aging, but I mean, the core of the team is returning. Your pitching staff is going to need work, but the front end with Dylan Cease, Michael King, and I guess Yu Darvish as a 39-year-old, if he returns next year, I don't know. I mean, that's a conversation. Like, was this the last time we've seen Yu Darvish pitch in a Major League Baseball game? I mean, he dealt with a lot of issues with personal life in the regular season. And he came back because he thought this team had a really good shot to win. Like,
that would shock me.
I'm
got 5 years left on this deal.
Okay. Anyway, so that's just all right. Darvish, Cease, King.
He'll be back. Yeah.
The back end of your bullpen with Suarez and Adam, Estrada, Tanner Scott's gone. You still have. This is your lineup next year, right now. Top of your lineup: Luis Ariz, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado. That's your top 4. And can you bring back Profar? Can you figure out if you don't bring back Profar, you got to figure out what you're going to do in left field.
You're also paying $15 million more for Ariz than you paid this year. You paid him nothing. Yeah, he made 10, and he's about to make more in arbitration.
Bogarts isn't going anywhere. Cronenworth's not going anywhere. Like, they're pieces. It's just that it makes it such a bummer because this team right now, this year, it felt like they had the pieces. And
I agree.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Austin, appreciate you. He says, can AJ Preller trade himself? That's the last person I would want to trade. That's like, maybe he's made some mistakes over the years. Not maybe, he has, of course. But he had a damn good year.
Dude,
from
hot take.
Executive standards, he had an amazing year.
Hot take for me.
Yeah.
I don't put any blame on AJ Preller.
Well, certainly not. I mean, how could you? What's the blame in this series on AJ Preller?
I mean, he put together a 93. Yeah, exactly. He put together a team that won 93 games, had one of the best records in the second half, had a bullpen that was really good in the postseason, especially the back end of the bullpen. Maybe not the whole bullpen, but the back end of the bullpen was really good in the postseason. And they're a win away from the NLCS. When you get to postseasons, it's really hard to be like, I can't believe the GM fucked this up. Like, the GM's job is to get the team to the postseason and try to build a team to win a World Series. And I thought AJ Preller did that. The team just offensively, the last 2 nights went MIA. That's not on AJ. That's on the team. That's on the players.
I agree with that. All right, let's get to some of these supers. Guys, if you're here, if you wouldn't mind subscribing. I mean, we're 2 hours in. This will go down as the longest wrap-up show in the history of the channel. This will go down as maybe one of the most viewed videos in the history of the channel. And we know it's disappointing. Padres lose in 5 to the Dodgers. We will be with you all offseason long, getting you ready for 2025. So please subscribe. Year-round content for you. And thank you for the super chats. We'll get to all of them here tonight. Click the $ below the chat box as the Padres season, hard to believe, is over here tonight. Dave, thank you. It says going to hurt even more when the Dodgers sign Roki. So there's been some Roki Suzaka or whatever the hell his name is talk. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm really not. Dodgers can do whatever they want. The Dodgers offseason signings weren't the reason why the Padres lost tonight. Like they didn't lose tonight because Shohei Ohtani, they spent $700 on him, or Yamamoto. They've gotten to Yamamoto before. It wasn't because of the signings. They lost because they just didn't play well. The two-step, thank you. This was their best chance at a World Series in the next 10 years. Definitely a wasted opportunity. They were the best remaining team on paper, classic Padres. That's where it does sting more, Jim. There's no 115-win Yankee team looming. There's no 115-win Dodger team. Mm-mm. Right? There's no absurd rotation out there that is dominant. Mm-mm. That's like the door was open and you didn't go through it.
You were going to have home field.
Yeah.
Was it through, like, were they going to have home field to the rest of the postseason?
Not if it was the Yankees.
Okay, unless they faced the Yankees. So, I mean, there was a chance that you could have had home field depending on what happens in the ALCS for the rest of the postseason. Now, you would have faced a red-hot Mets team, which I was the most scared of in the postseason. Now, obviously, the Dodgers beat the Padres, so that's, was proven wrong. But, yeah, dude, it's a wasted opportunity because you don't know what's going to happen next year. That's the part of it that sucks is like, you thought that this team could win a World Series. And also, let me just say this. They weren't even close. This is not game 5 of the World Series. This ain't even game 7 of the World Series. This is game 5 of the division series. So, yeah, it's a wasted opportunity, but they didn't even get to a World Series. And that, to me, with a 2-1 lead in this round, even puts more credence to them choking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word hurts to use, but is applicable. It's applicable. Gavin, thank you. Says sick to my tummy. Get rid of Jake. Too many vibe above replacement guys. Need to re-up on more role players. Let AJ cook this offseason. I mean, I will say this, and I mentioned this earlier, Jim, but to further this point, for Profar to bark like he barked, for the team to, have the mannerisms that they showed in game 2, and to be as outspoken as they were on Ken Rosenthal, and then to just lay the egg, makes some of that look even worse, if that makes sense. Again, if you back it up, be however you want to be. If you want to be boisterous and energized and wild, and you want to be the freaking Major League Indians, so to speak, or the 1993 Phillies or the 1986 Mets, you know what I mean? Like, that's bad, but we're just going to do it against all odds and screw what you guys think of. But they kind of backed it up. So, like, to act in that way but not finish the job makes it. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't look good, I don't think.
Well, it would have looked worse if all of a sudden they lost the 2 games after Sunday night. They didn't. They won game 3 after the whole drama and after the whole barking and after all the Ken Rosenthal shit and the Dave Roberts calling out Manny Machado. Like, they won game 3. They did respond. The problem is the Dodgers punched back and you had no answer and you folded. That was the problem. Like, they did respond, and that was game 3 in a big way.
Kind of. I mean, if you're, but at the end of the day, the last laugh is Rosenthal. If he's going to call you a smiling peacock and then you lose,
right? And calling out Manny for being an irritant and saying that Jerks and
Profar for being a fire alarm puller,
a punk kid. Yeah, no, yeah, dude. It sucks because everybody has to eat a big pile of crow. There's nothing we can do.
That's my point. Yes. Yeah. That's a good way to summarize it. That's how it feels. Mm-hmm. Rich, Who is a Dodger fan. Padres World Series wins. Oh yeah, 0. I mean, I'd be careful to get too over my skis if I'm a fan of any other team, because my guess is that most Dodger fans, Rich, maybe you're different. Their goal for the year probably wasn't to beat the Padres in the postseason. My guess would be your goal is to maybe win the World Series. And if you don't win the World Series, you might end up feeling the same way a lot of Padres fans feel tonight. So for as much as you want to troll and point fingers tonight, those who live in glass houses shouldn't necessarily throw stones. So we'll see how this plays out over the next month.
Yeah,
Brian, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I mean, again, it's like,
thanks, buddy.
We'll see if the Dodgers win the World Series. Then they've won the World Series. Then that counts. Right. But until they've won a World Series, they haven't won a World Series in 40 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Carlos, thank you. Lights to.
Are we in the Dodgers troll section of the super chats?
Maybe. I mean, or maybe so. I guess so, because that's Dodger Stadium, right? I mean,
I'm telling Carlos, bro.
Were they not? Were they bright on the? Were they too bright for the Dodgers when you lost to the 84 win Diamondbacks, or the 89 win Padres, or the Cardinals in 2021, or whomever you lost to in 2021, the Braves? So, were they too bright for the Padres? Were they too bright for the Dodgers in 2022 when you lost to the Padres?
Like, here's the thing, Carlos, as John just said. You know, those who live, what's it saying? Those who live in glass houses.
Glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I mean, you've been in that glass house a lot recently, right?
Yeah. You better go. Your team better go and win a World Series. Tell you what.
Or you're gonna look stupid.
Or you're gonna look like a fucking idiot, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for the super, buddy.
And we'll be here for you if that happens, by the way. Don't worry. Follow us on Twitter.
Thanks for paying us to have us make fun of you.
Make fun of you. Thank you. Slot and Easy, we appreciate you. He says Dodgers Yankees was always the script. No.
There's no
business
script.
Boys, 24 scoreless innings. Yeah, we sold. No, there's no script. That is not accurate. I don't believe in that at all. By the way, if Major League Baseball gets the Dodgers Yankees, of course it's a complete dream scenario, and it's printing money, and they'll have massive ratings, some of the best ratings in the last 40 years for a World Series. But no, this isn't. There's no script here. The script didn't hit the home run over the left field wall out of Kike Hernandez. The script didn't strike out Manny Machado. There's no script here. HBBBV, thank you. He says winning because I'm waking up in San Diego, not smell a. Go Mets. Thank you, HBBV, for the super chat. Roger appreciates you. He says this hurts. Really worried about next year. We have holes in the rotation, left field and short. Manny, you, and X all getting older and Musgrove out in 25. I would say this, Roger, to calm your nerves. We had concerns heading into 2024, and they traded Juan Soto. And they had more concerns heading into 2024 off 2023 than they're going to have in 2025 coming off 2024. So I'll trust in AJ Preller to figure it out and put on the field a winning team that's capable of getting to the postseason and then hopefully winning once they get into the postseason. Because it'll be a long offseason. Whatever holes they have, they'll be addressed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just watching a video right now. And look, for as bad as Manny's postseason was and as bad as Manny's career numbers are in the postseason, not once have we on here said like he doesn't care. Dude cares more than anything. He cares a lot. He's a guy that actually gives a shit. He just had a really awful series. And I'm watching a video of him now, and he like is on the verge of tears. And to me, it's just brutal, you know, because these guys did give a shit. Like guys like Nick Ahmed and Alec Jacob tomorrow, they're bummed, but I don't think they're sitting there crying.
Care too. They may.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
You get my point. Is that, you know, I'm seeing a video here of Manny, and he's like on the verge of tears. I'm seeing quotes from Luis Ariz and Fernando Tatis Jr. Like these dudes went out there and they didn't like just not try. They tried. They just put so much pressure on themselves and they pressed. They just didn't show up. And that's a really tough pill to swallow, to like give so care so much, and the end result looks as bad as it did. You know?
Completely. That's well said. No, it does suck to be Manny, and that's the problem with being a captain or a leader or a high-paid athlete. You know, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. And you got to live with both. And to lose in the manner in which the Padres lost the last couple of days and be Manny Machado, that's something that's going to stick with you throughout the offseason. Richard, appreciate your longtime support of the channel. Here is a very respectful Dodger fan. I've been a Dodger fan all my life. Please don't allow the 1% of a-holes trolling you to paint the rest of us as classless. That's completely fair, Richard, by the way. This is a rivalry moving forward. I have nothing but respect for you both. Thank you, Richard. You know how it can get heated. That is what makes sports fun. That's what makes rivalries. And it is true. There's a lot of people that respect rivalries, respect opponents. By and large, that's how we treat it. But Richard's here, I mean, all season long.
Yeah, no, thank you, Richard. We appreciate you. But the thing about rivalries, John, is like they aren't going to be cordial. They're not going to be like
that's what I'm saying. But
like,
but also
it's a rivalry
like YouTube
to me.
Channels, you need to say like F you.
No, but they don't have anything better to do than doing that. And I'm sure they were waiting this entire time to jump on our YouTube channel and tell us to F off. And that's fine. They just I for their sake, the Dodgers better win the World Series, because if they don't, they're gonna look like fucking idiots. Okay.
It's true.
But what was I saying? I don't even know what I was saying. I don't even know.
About rivalry.
Oh yeah, rivalries, they're never going to be clean. They're always going to be hostile.
Yeah.
That's what sports rivalries are, and this is the best sports rivalry in baseball right now. This is the best
it's a good one.
Baseball rivalry right now.
It's a really good one. I agree. The Fiery Friar, and again, I'm not going to be surprised if they meet again in the postseason at some point in the next 2 years, like they have 3 of the last 5 years. The Fiery Friar says, I was fully invested. I can't do the it's just baseball thing. I feel miserable. Thanks, John and Jim. I truly appreciate you showing up every night. Sleep on it. You're going to toss and turn and see it in your head a lot as you are restless here tonight. And then that fades into the second night, and that fades more into the third night. And then you start to think about off-season moves and what's to come, and you root for the Dodgers to lose to the Mets, but then you root for the Mets to lose and all the teams to lose. I mean, there's no good outcome, but it stings. It hurts, Fiery Friar. To your point, it hurts. It's supposed to. Michael, thank you. He says, I hope one day the Padres can finish what Peter started. That's why I'm sad right now. Besides that, thank you guys for your hard work this season. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
you saying that.
Yeah, hopefully they can. Hopefully they can.
I know. Before we're all dead. Hulk smash yo mom. Thank you for the super. LOL, lowest IQ. Funny from a city who's never won anything and lose your teams to other cities. Talk about classy. Your team hasn't been classy. Thank you for supporting the channel. That's great. MM Forever. Who's your daddy? Okay. Thank you for your support of the channel. This is the part of the night where the Dodger trolls have come in. Devin says, too soon to be positive and it stinks. Embrace the suck, and we'll be back later. Thanks, John and Jim, for the channel. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Vito says, so tired of seeing San Diego stars, quote unquote, not show up while stars on other teams live up to their contracts. Can't wait to see Cease shove for LA in the 2026 postseason. Cease is, man, it's a big 2025 for Dylan Cease. I would say that. That was a very marquee trade, and he did not produce in the postseason. And that's kind of why you got someone like Dylan Cease. Yes, you got to get to the postseason, but you got to have to produce in the postseason. Okay, this is his first year here. I'll give him some benefit of the doubt. I want to see him in 2025, but 2025 cannot be you can't replicate 2024 in the postseason. That's for sure.
No, one of these years you're going to have to break through. And you thought it was this year, and it wasn't. And what's tough is baseball seasons don't just roll over to where oh yeah, we'll be back next year. Like what happened last year? Everybody thought that the 2024 or 2023 team was going to win the World Series after making it NLCS. Guess what happened? Yeah, they won 82 games. Baseball is a sport where you need a lot of things to go right, and you need health, you need good pitching, you need to make right moves, signings, all of that. You okay? You okay over there?
Not really, because
how many more supers do we have, bro?
Hold on, we got time. It's an hour earlier where you are.
I know.
Relax.
My hair.
Hold on, I'm on. Nobody cares. Brian, appreciate you, man. He says this is his first super chat, John and Jim. Both Machado and Tatis, and thank you. Had two balls hit over 100 miles per hour. I don't think they choked. Baseball's hard, a fraction of an inch, and it's totally different. Wow.
Well,
oh, Mets, LOL. I mean, yeah, I understand that. And maybe in a different ballpark, Machado's ball to the warning track goes out and things are different. But that's not how it's remembered. In decisive games, it's like you either win or you lose, and then you live with the consequences on the other side of it, unfortunately, right? Nobody's going to remember it like you flat out to the warning track. And I agree. You hit a couple of balls well, but what can you do about it?
Yeah, dude. I think when I say choke, I don't say that like what I mean is they had a 2-1 series lead and they had all the momentum. Clinching closeout game 4 at home. You're going up against a bullpen day for the Dodgers. And you went 24 straight scoreless innings. When you have a 2-1 lead in a series, and you do that to me is why I'm saying they choked. Not tonight because they didn't, hit get a hit or whatever. They hit 2 balls over 100 miles per hour. Just they had 2-1 series lead.
Right.
They choked.
I know. You're right.
That's it.
You're right. Keep us here all night, by the way. Click the $sign below the chat box. High Note Music, thank you. I don't agree with this. Thank you for the superintendents. Will be down next year. I disagree. I think there's a lot of excitement for this team. I think they'll resell those memberships. I think they already have done probably a pretty good job with the renewals. Now they're already drawn as a top 3 team in baseball. I mean, could it drop 1% or something? Sure. But do I think it's going to drop precipitously, like 15%? No, I don't. I just, in fact, they'll get one additional home game next year. They'll go from 80 to 81. They lost a game to Korea. I don't think attendance is going to drop next year.
No. Kidding me?
I hope not.
Kidding me? This tennis is the same.
Dylan says, love the show, guys. Had so much fun during the Korea series watching with you and meeting you at Aztec games. Go Padres. We will win it all someday. Remember the Korea series, dude? I literally went to sleep during the second game.
That felt like a lifetime ago. But
I said this would be the longest wrap-up show. Those shows were longer.
Yeah, I did for like almost 4 hours. You woke up in the morning, you're like, you're still doing this?
You were like still doing it. I think the first night was like 3 hours and the second night was like 4 hours. John, appreciate you, man. He says 24 scoreless innings in a row. How do we move forward? Trade Crone? I mean, how can you? There's no value. Get a return on Cease and get Snell back, Roki. Let's bring back Peralta, Profar. Stuck with Machado. You're not stuck with Machado. Machado's a very good player. You might be stuck with Bogey. Terrible contracts.
Terrible.
And do you think any of that? You think anything sizable like a Rise, Corona, or Cease? Like, is anyone real or notable on the move? Maybe. I mean, we got a lot of time to think on it, but maybe.
I would not be happy if they traded Luis Rise. I just would not be.
Right. He's been traded so much.
He had a bad postseason and he had a really bad series against the Dodgers. I thought he was gonna have a big night tonight. I did. He had that hit in the third inning, one of the only hits of the night. And I'm like, all right, here we go. That was it. He just did not look like himself this series, but I just hope they don't trade him.
Right. Tim says, Dodgers fan here. Sorry, guys. Hyped to have a strong Cali rival because the Angels and Giants haven't done S in years. Respect, y'all. Welcome to get tickets for Sunday no matter what zip code you're in. I mean, I hope the Dodgers fans can sell out Dodger Stadium for the National League Championship Series.
I had a hard time selling out this series.
Well, I was watching in that first and second inning. They were showing some of those shots, and people were not in their seats. I know that. This game started.
No, that stadium was not full.
This is late arriving. No, they're going to fill it, and they might fill it with some Mets fans too, truthfully. Propa, thank you, says I was – yeah, I think so. I was rooting for you guys. Losing sucks, especially to them. I feel your pain, but as part of being a consistent contender. Yeah, it's like, you got to keep playing to win, It's like the lotto. You're not going to win without playing.
Understand. The thing about baseball and just sports in general is there's only one team at the end of the year that fan base is truly happy.
Right.
And
crazy.
Being a consistent contender is what we have talked about on the show forever, that you want the Padres to be consistent contenders every single year. Well, guess what comes with that? Heartbreak, because you're not winning 7 straight World Series. It's just not happening. If you told me right now this team had 7 straight postseason appearances, I would take that every day of the week. And guess what? Maybe all 7 of them turn out to be heartbreak, but I would take it right now, no questions asked, because on that one off chance, that one time they do win the World Series, and all the heartbreak that you've had before that makes it even more worth it.
Well said, Wyatt B. Thank you. It says heartbreaking to think Joe is recovering from surgery.
He had surgery
right.
today,
Joe
dude.
Musgrove had surgery today, and Hassan Kim had
labor
Did
surgery.
Hassan Kim have surgery?
They both had surgery today. That's what Kevin Acee said. I mean, just like brutal timing. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, can't you wait till tomorrow? Like, tomorrow would have been an off day, regardless.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Like, come on, man.
Thank you for the super. It says curse the Murph. Credit Merrill for an incredible year. But where were our vets in this series? Ouch. Thanks for a great show. I mean, I don't know where anyone was. I don't even know how you summarize what happened here. You're playing a good team clearly in LA. They were always going to be a good team going into the series. It was always going to be a challenge going into the series. It's not just about the vets. It's just about, I don't even care who stepped up. It was just about winning. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been like if they won. What about it? I don't know how to describe it. It's just frustrating. Is how I would describe it. It's super frustrating.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
You're just it's like an angry feeling. You're just angry because
I'm just left wanting more.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling about it. Keaton, thank you. Says the Padres are plus 250 to win the World Series and plus 125 to win the pennant Wednesday. I hope I'm wrong, but this team might have had best shot we've ever had, better than 98, best of my lifetime. I think for a brief moment that may have been accurate. That statistically speaking, I think Fangraphs had it for a moment that the Padres had the best percentage chance of winning the World Series, better than the Yankees, better than the Dodgers when they led it 2-1. But that happens. You can be fooled by numbers. You can be fooled by numbers, and the numbers look good for a moment for the Padres, but they had to do it on field and they didn't. Von Schlief says Arise disappearing really, really hurt us. I also wonder about Arise's health a lot this year. Not to excuse it, because he did hit. I'd like to see him. His hand thing, the thumb thing, was definitely a factor for him this year.
It was a factor for him, but I'm not going to use it as an excuse. This series at the plate, John, he did not look good. He was swinging.
Yeah.
It looked like, how many fly ball outs did he have in this series?
Yeah, I have no idea, but yeah.
Like he just, he turned into a completely different hitter. Like he swung at ball 4 tonight one time that you could have started a rally to start an inning. He had a really good a base hit tonight, but his
that's right. He had the big hit. He had the one. He had half of
the hit.
The
he
moments.
had the hit. Yeah, he had the hit.
Big hit.
The hit.
David, appreciate you, man. He says, Dodger fan here, but appreciate your shows. Got me interested in Merrill. What a talent. Reminds me of what Lux was supposed to be, but wasn't. Yeah, I hope he's going to turn out to be better than that. I hope he can replicate, truthfully. I just hope he can do what he's done again. I hope he does it again and again and again, but 2025 specifically,
that's where you
replicate what he just did.
Well, that's where you get the questions of, all right, dude, you put together one of the all-time rookie seasons in recent memory offensively from a 21-year-old kid who played center field for the first time in his entire career on opening day. It was his first time playing center field in a big league. Well, he played center field in spring training, but you get my point. And he put together what I think should be a rookie of the year season. It's going to be tough because Paul Skeens closed pretty well, but unequivocally put together the best rookie season in Padres franchise history.
Absolutely. No, it was an amazing year. And if he does it again, he'll put this team in a position to have a good year. If Jackson Merrill replicates it's hard to imagine the Padres aren't a good team. If he does all that productivity all year long, playing every single day, that's a good sign for the Padres in 2025. Andrew, thank you again. He says, Schilt getting lots of crap here. Not his fault. It was great all year, and the players lost the series. Seriously, though, I hope you're giving Marty lots of S. We're not. Marty's a native San Diegan, has spent her career covering the Padres. We're not giving her any S. Alex, thank you. I think this might be a super sticker, just supporting the channel, so we appreciate you, man. Pete says the Padres dodgered. Great regular season choke postseason. Interesting.
Okay. I don't know what
Cool.
that means, but whatever.
We'll see what happens. I mean, because the Dodgers don't win in the postseason. We'll see what happens this year.
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler.
Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, man. I've been a diehard San Diego fan all my life. We have come so close, both with the Chargers and the Padres, in my time that I can remember. This series loss is the toughest I've ever endured. This team felt different. I'm so sad it's over. Appreciate you, boys. We get it, man.
Yeah. No, it is. It's like I said, this to me feels, because going into the game, yeah, I said it, biggest game in Padres franchise history. One of the biggest games in Padres franchise history, with the stakes that were at hand, who they were playing, circumstances, the team. Like, it just felt like one of the biggest games ever. And the way they lost made it even worse. Losing the game, yeah, that sucks and it's brutal. The way they lost, that just takes it to another level. So, yeah, dude, I get it, Tyler. This is a loss that everybody won't get over for a long time, and this will always be remembered until they win a championship, truthfully.
Correct. Morgan Freeman, thank you. He says, loss sucked, but happy to see that Preller finally figured out depth. Still have Tatis, Machado, King, Cease, Darvish, DeVries, Salas in the hole. Interesting for the future, certainly. Thank you for being there all season, J&J. Thank you. The DeVries, Salas thing,
I haven't even thought about DeVries.
I haven't thought about him, but hopefully one of them is the next Jackson Merrill to impact the club. I don't think it's 2025, but maybe some point sooner rather than later. But thank you, Morgan. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Mike, thank you. He says, thanks for helping me cope, boys. Is Profar definitely staying?
I don't know.
I think definite's probably a strong word. Maybe.
If I was Profar, I'm not asking for $1 million. I can tell you that.
No, I'm looking for multiple years too. I'm probably trying to get that second year out of this.
If there was a year for him to try and get that multi-year deal, it's after this All-Star season.
Yep,
no doubt,
definitely. Morgan Freeman again says this team needs a sports psychologist. To be honest, maybe they probably do. It's tough, man. It's tough when you lose like this. SL Stevens, thank you, man, for the long time support of the channel and the generous super. He says 2 dingers. That's all that separated us. Could have very easily gone the other way. It doesn't feel that way, but thanks for all that you guys have done. The part that, 2 home runs, 2 pitches, whatever. But the part that sucks is we didn't score. So, like, if you don't score, 2 home runs are the difference, but were they? I mean, or maybe the Dodgers would have figured something else out in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th inning.
There's one at bat tonight to talk about with runners in scoring position. Everything else just didn't. It was a feeble performance offensively. There's no other way to put it. You know, they didn't just give up. They fought, but they just didn't. They put too much. It felt like they put too much pressure on themselves. It felt like they were pressing a lot, and it felt like they were doing uncharacteristic things at the plate. And as a team, offensively, that we haven't seen in months.
Completely. Cameron Riddle, thank you. Dodger fan here. Heartbreak is part of the process. The Padres just need to keep this squad together because I think they'll break through, maybe add some under-the-radar pitching for cheap. Thank you, Cameron. I mean, I think AJ's done decently well with, the Seth Lugos of the world over the years, and those have paid dividends. Heartbreak being part of the process, that's fair. It's just Padres fans have endured it for a while.
A while.
Like over a half century, so it's getting to be a little stale, but it's fair. It is part of it.
And the thing with this loss too, there aren't many heartbreaking losses in Padres franchise history like this one. There's 98, you got swept. 84, you lost 4-1. You have only made 3 championship series in your franchise's history. In 2022, they lost in 5. This one is like, it's up there. It's up there for sure.
Up there for sure, completely. Andy says, "What about your players trolling fans?" Whatever.
That's sport.
I mean,
don't be so soft. Get over it.
Yeah. If anything, your boys started talking shit first. I don't think so. I mean, honestly, I don't even want to get into that. And what about Jack Flaherty? You know, I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Behind the Bar says the fact that this team was so special feels wasted. I fear we won't have another team like this again. Hard to replicate family. Well, they'll have it again. We just can't predict when. You know, I mean, there'll be another good Padres team. I can promise you that. There'll be another good Padres team.
Dude, yeah, they were a family. You watched these videos that Marty's putting out right now of the clubhouse. It looks awful in there. Awful. Yeah. But here's the thing, and I want to get this I want to set this straight a little bit from my perspective. There were a lot of special moments in this season, but it's really hard to call this team a special team when they blow a 2-1 lead in the division round and they go 24 straight innings without scoring a run. Special moments, good team, not special team. That's how I view it.
What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. You know, special season or not? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Put it in the chat. Special season or not?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say that. It's hard for me to say that.
Howard K, thank you, says just kind of a gut punch end of the season. NHL seems like a fun filler until February. Any team recommendations? LOL. How about the Utah Hockey Club? I'm kidding. I have no clue. It just debuted.
Follow the
Gulls.
Well, they're not an NHL team, John.
Oh, good point. JD Gacho says the others decided this series. Kind of. I mean, Ohtani had some moments. Teoscar Hernandez had some moments.
I thought that
Yamamoto had some moments.
Yeah, I thought that even though Ohtani had the big home run in Game 1, the bottom of that lineup was the key to their Game 1 win. And then I thought
they had 5 hits.
Yeah, and then in the others, I think if you want to put the Dodgers bullpen in the others category, they dominated this series. And then tonight, Kike Hernandez, that motherfucker.
Yeah. 14 home runs. That's crazy in the postseason. That's crazy. Keaton says, we're united by our love and our pride in being from one of the best places on earth. It's not just about baseball. It's about backing our city. But my disdain for Dodger fans, rivals, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm not going to compare it to that. It says this sucks. I mean, yeah, it sucks. I mean, again, to lose in the postseason always sucks. To lose a decisive game always sucks. To do it to the Dodgers
sucks even more.
The
double whammy.
The double whammy. Peter Parker.
Don't worry, I'm not going to do what you thought I was going to do.
You kind of did. Thank you for the super.
Sorry.
Peter Parker says, I'm pissed as well. If the Padres are going to go anywhere, Machado has to show up as the captain of the team. I watch on replay due to being on Central Time. Thanks for being here all season. Appreciate you, Peter. I'm on Mountain Time right now. You're on Central. Jim's on Pacific Time. And unfortunately, no matter what time you're watching right now, the Padres season is over. Vector 53 says, regardless of your views, love supporting you guys. Thank you, Vector. Appreciate you saying that. Johnny the retweet says the better team won. Would you agree with that, Jim? Did the better team won? I mean, they won fair and square. They deserve to win tonight. I mean, the Padres did not deserve to win tonight because they didn't come through. But did the better team win this series? Good talk.
No, sorry. Did the better team win this series? We'll find out. I think if the Dodgers win the World Series.
No, we already did find out.
Oh, yeah, the Dodgers are the better team. Dude, I just saw something on Twitter. Holy shit.
Okay.
These fucking losers decided to vandalize San Diego like highway signs and spray paint FTP on them. And it says, and that's obviously stands for fuck the Padres. Like, look at this. I mean, look at this shit. Like, what are we doing?
Lots of signs or one sign?
Well, on the highway. Like, congratulations, you're going to jail. Like, Fucking idiots. Sorry.
Yeah, good point. Good point. John says Cronenworth's contract historically bad. Nah, I don't know about historically. Hosmer's contract's historically bad.
Yeah.
Bogart's contract.
I got a Hosmer retweet today.
You did, and you're like, yeah, that might have been the kiss of death, truthfully. Shay says, thank you, Shay. This was probably the most complete San Diego Padre team ever. I mean, since '98, certainly. I think we all agree on that.
It was the best. It was by record alone the best team since '98.
Yep. So I think, Jay, you're probably right. Arthur says, extremely disappointed tonight since Padres stayed under luxury tax threshold this year. What do you guys expect money-wise after the reset? I think it'll be comparable. I'd be shocked if they all of a sudden go below through the CBT number in 2025.
I think their payroll is going to be comparable to what it is this year to next year. I think, it could start out maybe like around 160 and it could go up during the season, but I don't think it's going to drop to like 110. It can't drop to 110.
No. But I also don't think it's going up to 210. I think he's kind of saying, are they going to reset it now that they avoided the tax?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Either do I. Every so often says Ken Rosenthal eats burritos from the side. Ken Rosenthal also is getting last laughs right now, unfortunately.
Yep.
HBBBV says I had my champagne from Sprouts ready. That's crazy. Hashtag
wait to open it for something that's actually good.
Man, that's tough. Peter Parker, I've gone through the 5 stages of grief twice.
Spider-Man?
You guys went live.
Dude, we've been going for 2.5 hours, bro. I did a 3.5 hour solo show, and then I've done now 2.5 hours on John and Jim. Oh my god, I've done almost 7.
Oh yeah, you did.
I've done almost 6 hours of stuff today.
You got like a Medal of Honor. Hal R, thank you. Hal R says, imagine the Red Sox fell in 03. They won it all the next year. Padres blew past all of our expectations this year. This sucks, but it was a fun ride. Love listening to your show all year. Keep the faith. Thank you, Hal. That's very nice. The problem is, if someone told me right now the Padres are going to win the World Series in 2025, we'd be like, yay. But we can't guarantee that. So, yes, the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004, but that doesn't mean the Padres are going to win the World Series in 2025. The point is an interesting one, and true, it's possible. But
also, that 03 team lost Game 7 of the ALCS, not Game 5 of the division round, when having a 2-1 lead.
Okay.
Right? No, am I wrong? I mean,
yeah, no, you're right. Thank you, Hal.
In extra innings, by the way. It wasn't like they lost and got shut out in Game 7. They lost in extra innings.
Yeah, this team's going to have to show us more. I mean, I look at these last 3 postseasons, 2022, 24. Some series wins. They won a series in 20. They won 2 series in 22. They won 1 series in 24. We're looking for that next step now. They got some series under their belts. They've had some good moments. We want great moments. We had the Cronenworth hit in Game 4 against the Dodgers in 2022. That series was great. We need more great moving forward. Daniel, thank you. Was going to go to a bar, but decided to watch the game at home tonight. That's a smart decision, by the way.
Yeah.
Waited the whole game for something to happen. Still a very fun season, though.
Absolutely
it was.
Right. It was very fun season. Year. Just ended in the worst possible way.
20 amazing games. There were 20 ridiculous games this year. There were. I'll go find them. There were 20 ridiculous games. Fast Nickel says, Mets fan, what's your thoughts, Mets Dodgers? I agree with Jim. I mean, Jim's been singing the Mets praises for weeks on end, and I agree with Jim. I think the Mets are set up really well here to just kind of ride the roller coaster that they're on, and they seem to maybe have destiny on their side. I like the Mets.
I do too. I think the Dodgers are going to be in trouble because of their pitching. They can't do bullpen days every day in the NLCS. I don't think that the Mets have like head and shoulders better pitching, but they're also more rested than the Dodgers, and they have just that it factor about them. And they also have nothing to lose. I mean, they're the road team in this series. They're the underdogs in this series, and they're going to be playing that. They're going to be playing with a mentality of like, we got nothing to lose. And how many times in the last just week alone, 2 weeks, they've had these incredible holy shit moments. You were just talking about the Cronenworth moment. The Padres need to have more moments. The Mets have had the moments that teams don't have in like decades, and they've had it over the last 2 weeks. They were dead against the Brewers, down 0-2, I think the final out of the game, 2 outs, 3-run homer, they win the game. In Atlanta, the crazy Atlanta game in game 1, they win that game thanks to a Lindor. The grand slam the other day against the Phillies. They had a comeback that fell short in game 2 versus the Phillies, but still they tied up 6-6. I mean, dude, Dodgers have their hands full with the Mets, and I would have felt the same exact thing if the Padres advanced tonight over the Dodgers.
David, thank you. Says Dodger fan again. I think that being just a rundown for several innings made things worse for the Padres. Too many bad at bats trying to be the hero and swing for the fence and tie the game. Well, I don't think they would have benefited from being down more than 1 run. Truthfully, I don't think if it was 4-0 after an inning, they would have been better off. But yeah, maybe there were some selfish at bats in there. I mean, it's human nature to try to be the one to bring your team back. And that just didn't work, obviously, tonight. I mean, 20 consecutive Padres retired or 20 straight outs recorded down the game. Like, that's unbelievable. D. Lee, thank you. He says, we're screwed next year. They got Ohtani and Glass now. We'll be battling for 4th place. I don't know about that. They had Ohtani and Glass now this year. Now Ohtani on the mound. Okay, fair.
I'm going to have to see it from Ohtani, bro. I'm sorry. I got to see it from Ohtani on the mound before I can say he's Mr. Cy Young, bro. I mean, come on, dude. I'm sorry.
Nick says, good game, guys. As a Dodger fan, losing 2 NLS teams in the playoffs looked like a curse in the making. San Diego versus LA, the new LA versus San Francisco rivalry and intensity. It's got a lot of intensity. It really does.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of star power because of like the Machado Tatis. It's a great current rivalry. It really is. Every so often says tonight sucks, but we still haven't been let down by Merrill's pending Rookie of the Year loss to Skeen's popularity contest. Yeah, that'll be a nice little punch in the gut too if that happens. Not that it's nearly the same as this. Gilbert says, as a Friar fan, this feels like this is the peak for this organization. Sadly, this team will never win a championship. I don't think it's the peak because they won a championship series 2 years ago.
This is like a low point as far as like heartbreak goes, not low point is like they just lost 150 games.
No. Yeah, exactly. JD Gaucho, thanks, man. He says, I'm guessing Padres fans will hate watch this NLCS because they love baseball. Admit to hate watching in 2022. And rooting for Philly, I'll be honest, I don't know. It might take me a game or 2 to turn this thing on. Like, I don't want to see Dodger Stadium on Sunday night.
No,
I really don't.
And I don't like the Mets either. So like
no.
I mean, we are sitting here, John, with a potential to have Dodgers Yankees or Mets Yankees, and I hate both those matchups because I don't like any of those teams.
No, it sucks.
Like, I guess go Tigers or go Guardians. I mean,
go Tigers.
You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Go Tigers. Tyler, thank you. Says not sure if you guys missed my super or not, but then he followed up by saying, "Never mind, you got to it right when I sent the follow up." So thank you, Tyler.
It takes us a while sometimes.
Tonight it took us forever. Robert, thank you, man, for your support from overseas. We appreciate you. Golden King's Toys says, how did we get to an NLCS in 2022 with a worse squad? Because it's matchup dependent. Things can happen. That's sports. Not always the best team wins, but there is only one team standing. Right? How many times have we talked about the National League with the teams with the byes? Teams with byes are now 1-5 with the Dodgers moving on. The first team to ever get out of the bye and to a championship series in 3 years is LA tonight.
And what's tough too is 2024, I think, was a better team than 2022, but 2022 had a better season overall.
I agree.
Yep.
That happens. Hater Tot says, Dodgers fan in San Diego, love both your shows. Thank you, man.
Thanks,
buddy. From an outsider, you could see and feel there was something special, Jim. Just didn't go your way. That happens. Like, there's other examples of really good teams historically, not just baseball, that don't win. I mean, were the Patriots better than the Giants? Yeah, probably.
Oh my God, yeah, right.
Did they beat them? They didn't beat them.
Yeah, and
that's not this. That's not the point I'm making. I'm not saying the Padres are so clearly better than the Dodgers. I'm not making that point. That's not. But it's
what sports is. You never know what's going to happen, and it's like you have any given Sunday or any given series, right?
Yeah, exactly. Talon, thank you, man, for your longtime support of the channel. He says, born and raised in San Diego, this never gets easier. No, I think it's harder, truthfully. I mean, the more perspective you have on it, when you're a 9-year-old, you're 9.
More time that passes too without these guys in their prime winning a championship or getting to a World Series. Like it gets tougher, man.
The more what ifs. Yep. Che says San Diego's 24 scoreless inning streak similar to Houston Rockets missing 27 threes in Game 7, 28 Western Conference Finals against the Warriors. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, Darnay said that.
Yeah, Mark, thank you. Back to Talon here, who says, anyone saying, yeah, you are sick, disgusting, this was a gimme, F this, no moral victories. Oh, about the Padres season? Yeah, it's too soon for that. There'll be reasons for optimism on the other side. Come winter meetings, come spring training, we can put, a bow on this season. But yeah, right now it does hurt. I agree. T1 Stents 82 0 championships. Don't you guys get tired of losing? Yes, you probably do as well if you're a Dodger fan.
It's funny. Here's just real quick. It's funny because like I don't play for the team. John doesn't play for the team. So when you say things like that and try to troll, it's like, oh fuck, dude, I forgot. I can't believe I went 0 for 4 tonight. Like, I mean, it doesn't. You're not affecting me with that comment.
Right. That's exactly.
Are you prepping right now? Because it's almost game time. Because we've been on for 75 hours.
Under the sun with the last super of the evening. Is Schilt too lax? What's his weakness?
I think, and just hear me out. I think his weakness is being maybe almost too loyal to a fault.
Too rah-rah?
Not too rah-rah, but I think, hey, this has worked for us all year, and I know it's not worked the last 3 nights, but I'm going to continue to do it type of mentality, Like, I'm not saying it burned him in this series, but there are moments in this series where things like that burned him, like the fuck it, we're going to face Ohtani straight up. Well, that burned you in Game 1 and Game 4. We don't need to make any changes to our lineup. We've been good. Well, didn't work tonight. You went 24 straight scoreless innings. Yeah, there's Darvish, he's been pitching great. We can get 3 more outs from him. Well, he gave up another home run. Like there's moments like that where that's one of his weaknesses. It's not like the weakness. I think it's just a little bit of a problem, and I'm not blaming him for this series loss. To me, it's the players first and foremost. 24 straight scoreless innings, like give me a fucking break. But Schilt didn't have a good series. I can tell you that too.
No, and he's proven to be a good manager. He's done it in St. Louis. He's done it here. Has he proven yet to be a great manager? No, because that's based on winning at a high level in the postseason, obviously. Ballpark Pretzel, thank you. Says, wait till next year, getting real old around here. It is. And, the offseason long. It's not as long as 2023 when you're out at the end of September. We played on here until October 11th. Spring training will be here in February. It's not forever, but it's a long way away. Arai Singles says, I think Mets win. Dodgers don't have pitching for a 7-game series. Very drunk. Dodgers are minus 180. I'm at the Action Network right now. They are heavy favorites in this extended out 7-game series with home field. Doesn't mean they're going to win it, but they are heavy favorites to win this series. Kyle Glazer, who we had on, maybe Mike Farron too. I think they both might have liked the Mets in a 7-game series against the Dodgers. So we shall see. And then JD Gaucho saying baseball's a funny game. Joe Davis said Harper had the swing of his life versus the Padres in 2022. NLCS, Lindor, or Polar Bear could versus the Dodgers. Who the hell knows? Yeah, it is a funny game. We don't know how it's going to go in the National League Championship Series or beyond. All right, let's just say this real quick. Let me pull up this from Underdog. Pull that comment down, Jim. I'm losing my mind. Use promo code PODSWRAP at Underdog Fantasy, and you'll get a 50% deposit match. All right. Use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. You'll get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Play along throughout the baseball offseason with the NFL, Major League Baseball postseason still going on, college football and more, NBA, NHL. Support the channel. If you support the channel, support Underdog. Click the link in the description down below. Use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. Get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000.
Scan the QR code.
But yeah, scan the QR code or click the link in the description down below. Thank you guys for hanging out all season long. Seriously, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We have year-round content for you. There'll be better days than today. I promise you that, Padres fans. There will be better days, and there'll be a lot to discuss this offseason. If you have not subscribed, please do that. We are here for you year-round. This is not the way we envisioned it ending. Simple as that. But all good things come to an end, and unfortunately for the Padres, it comes to an end on a Friday night at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles in a 2-0 shutout loss. Jim, should we do it ever again, or is this the last wrap-up show in the history of the channel?
We were actually talking that if this team won the World Series, we would just like not say anything and just like ride off in the sunset and just like not do another show ever again. Right.
So now we just got to stick around for another.
Obviously, you know, John and Jim, that's our jobs, not going anywhere. This is like a labor of love. Yeah, man. I mean, look, obviously things change, but I'm not just, it's whatever. We're sucks. Fucking sucks. So we'll be back. Maybe.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, we'll be back.
I hope so.
We'll be back.
If you want us back, subscribe. If you want us back, we'll be back. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, the Padres lose tonight. Their season is over. The Dodgers will meet the Mets in the National League Championship Series. The Padres offseason is underway, and we are here for you on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, iHeartRadio app, and YouTube. We're here for you on the wrap-up show as well because we have year-round content. As there is news, we will be here for you on the wrap-up show. Please support our partners. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. He's been with us since day one of this channel 3.5 years ago. If you're not doing business with Mark, you should be. Click the link in the description down below. Mova Globes, use promo code PWS10. Get 10% off those globes. Officially licensed MLB Globes. Click the link in the description down below. Use promo code PWS10. We told you about Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PODSWRAP. Subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button. Follow us on X at John Schaefer at Jim Russell SD.
Hold on.
Thank you for the super thanks if you're here on replay. Jim says, hold on. What are we holding for?
I'm just banning somebody real quick. Hold on. Some fucking
That's a good way to wrap the season.
Yeah.
That's how we wrap the season, by banning someone.
Yeah.
All right, guys. For Jim, I'm John. Season's over, sadly. Until next time, this has been the wrap-up show. Thanks, guys.